Teacher Tanya Hinkle is suing her ex-fiancé, construction worker Shane Burkar, for the cost of a reception hall and for the cost of a wedding dress.
Ms. Hinkle, you and the defendant were engaged. He broke off the engagement according to your complaint. You want him to pay for some expenses that were incurred by you or your mother, down payment on a hall, dress, etc. And you want the paperwork on your engagement ring.
Yes.
What are you doing with the engagement ring?
I was going to try to sell it.
Why?
So that I could pay off the rest of the wedding, but I can't get the paperwork because the defendant won't give it to me.
Why should he give it to you? You're supposed to give the engagement ring back to him.
Yeah, well, he proposed to me and broke it off.
So what?
So I thought it was a gift.
No. An engagement ring is a ring given in contemplation of you two getting married. And if he broke it off, there must have been a reason that he had doubts. Even if he had no reason to have doubts, it was good that he decided to call it off before he married you, if he wasn't going to be a good husband. The ring goes back to him. There's no issue with regard to that. I mean, once you're married, and if you're divorced, well, then the contract has been fulfilled. You were married, the engagement ring stays with you. But before the wedding, it goes back to him. Where is it? Can I see it, please? It's lovely. Give it to him. You still paying it off?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much was it?
The total was $27.95, I think, was the total on it.
And if you go to sell it, how much do you think you're going to get for it?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it.
Maybe half.
Never tried, yeah. Possibly.
Maybe. You never get.
Possibly half, yeah.
Unless you're dealing with the Hope Diamond.
Right.
You know, they usually don't appreciate in value.
Right.
Everybody makes a profit. You go to sell it. Maybe you're lucky if you get half. So you're going to be out probably $1,400.
Right.
That's you on the negative side. And how much did you spend on the wedding so far?
$1146.92.
So you don't want to have to pay him any money, do you?
No.
Good. So we're going to call it even, and you're all going to go home, and you're going to say, lucky, we called it off when we should have. He lost $1,400 on the ring. You lost $1,100 on the wedding expenses. Goodbye and good luck. Thank you.
99 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Escada. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
I'm really a little confused with this case, but we're going to make sense of it. Miss Jones, you're suing her because you say she filed false charges against you of hit and run.
Yes.
The hit and run was not against her person, but against a car that she was driving in.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
There was an incident involving the defendant.
Yes, there was.
First, tell me when the incident happened.
The exact day, it was on or about May 1st.
Tell me about it.
I was moving back into my home, and
you were moving back into your home from where?
From a corporate leasing unit.
Okay.
I rented a 26-foot U-Haul truck. I asked the guy to help me move, and he knew the defendant's boyfriend.
Did you know this person?
Not personally, no.
How did you find this person?
Just through verbal acquaintance, just seeing him around town. He's a handyman.
What's his name?
Michael Alexander.
So you asked Michael if he would help you move?
Yes. He then got the two other guys and said, you know, they were good workers and they will also help because I had a lot of furniture.
Okay, so there were going to be 3 men.
3 men.
And you rented the U-Haul.
And I rented the U-Haul.
Where did you pick them up?
I picked them up on 3rd Street East in Lancaster, California at Michael's home.
What happened the second day?
The following day, we had agreed the previous night to meet back at Michael's house early in the morning. I did so. I arrived.
So you, again, went back to Michael's house to pick up the 3 guys?
To pick up the 3 guys. As the one of the guys was walking out, he was arguing with someone in the house. I asked him, was he okay? Did he need to stay back? He said, no, let's go. So all 4 of us got into the truck. I drove off. Went back to the house, unloaded the truck. Later on that day, I was going down Avenue K, headed westbound. He spotted his girlfriend.
Were the 3 men still in the truck?
The 3 men are in the truck. I'm driving down Avenue K, which is a main street. I'm heading westbound. He spotted his girlfriend, which apparently is a defendant.
Had you ever seen her before?
No.
Never laid eyes on her before that day? Go ahead.
And he makes a comment to another guy. He said, oh, there she goes. She's about to turn around. I quickly glanced in my rearview mirror. I didn't really see anything. A few seconds later, she was behind me on my left-hand side, honking her horn and motioning me to pull over.
What kind of car was she in?
A little blue Toyota Tercel, something compact and small.
Now, how was she telling you to pull over?
Honking her horn and motioning like this. And so then I asked the guy, I said, do you want me to pull over? He said, no, she just wants to argue, just keep going. So I did. A few seconds later, she's now on the right side of the truck.
She's on the passenger side of the
On
truck.
the passenger side of the truck. Okay, she just got over. She's doing the same thing. And I asked him again, I said, are you sure? He said, no, keep on, she'll eventually pass. And I said, okay, fine. So I keep driving. She was yelling and screaming.
What was she yelling?
You know, she was yelling profanities at him.
At him, not at you?
Not at me, okay? Not at first. When she got closer to the window, though, to where, because it was a long truck, when she got closer to the window, she did call me a B. But prior to that, she was, you know, on the side of the truck yelling and screaming at him, and they flipped it. I don't know. She flipped him off, and then he flipped her back off. So then they had a flipping off match, okay? And so I kept driving, and that was that. I moved all that day, you know, nothing. And the following day, I got a call from the Palmdale Sheriff's Department, said that they wanted to come look at the vehicle because they had been involved in a hit and run.
First of all, who was that guy who knew me?
Speak not until I speak to you. So it is your testimony
Yes.
that at no time did you ever hit her or hit her car?
Whatsoever.
Now, were you ever arrested?
No.
What happened?
The officer came to my house. He took a photograph of me. He told me to wait there at my house, that he was going to take the picture to her. If she verified that it was me, that he was going to come back and arrest me, for me not to go anywhere, to stay home that day. And I did. I was moving anyway. He never came back that day. I didn't hear anything, so I figured, okay, it's all taken care of. About a month later, I get a notice in the mail from the DMV stating that someone has inquired as to my driving record. Then I get a letter from the Sheriff's Department stating that I need to appear in court on charges of a hit and run and property damage. And
Do you have a copy of that letter?
I don't have a copy of the letter, but I was summoned to court.
You have a copy of the summons?
No, this is the court dates, and the days I appeared in court.
Am I correct, Miss Jones, that the trial in this case commenced, jury was selected,
Yes.
the first witness was called by the people?
Yes.
That was this lady right here.
Yes.
The second witness that was called was her mother. I assume that's you.
Mother-in-law.
You're not her mother, are you?
No.
Then be quiet. Then the matter was adjourned.
Yes.
And when everybody came back, the district attorney moved to dismiss the case.
Yes.
The district attorney moved before you even had an opportunity to put on your case. At the
Yes.
end of their case, the district attorney said, we move to dismiss in the furtherance of justice. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, this report says that they found on your U-Haul a smudge of blue paint that was consistent with the blue paint on the car, her car.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
Yes, I can. When she got on the right-hand side of the truck and she was driving and cussing and carrying on, she skinned the side of the truck. At 35 miles an hour, she claimed that I hit her, that she skid and collided with me at 35
No,
miles an hour.
I read what she said.
Okay, these are the photos.
I read the exact statement she gave to the police, which contained no information about her boyfriend being in the car, anything like that.
Yeah.
As far as her statement to the police was concerned, you were total strangers and you totaled her car, and so may I see the photographs that you have?
In the photographs, you will see her car. The hood of it is dented and the grill is missing, but she admitted in court that that was damage that was done previously. That was not damage caused by the U-Haul. At 35 miles an hour, she wouldn't have had a front.
Okay. Now I'd like to hear you.
On May 1st, I was coming from east side. All of a sudden, I see this U-Haul truck approaching me on the opposite side. She turned to the left. I just put the steering wheel a little bit to the right. That's why she hit the car. I have my pictures right here. On the side, you can see that's when she hit it.
What's your boyfriend's name, or what was his name?
Gino?
Gino. Was Gino in the U-Haul?
No.
Really? She says there was a person driving in the car who you knew. Is that true?
No. I don't know what.
Really?
I don't know
Ms. Jones.
what she's talking about.
Yes.
I don't know who's this guy. No.
You know who that person is?
No, even when I went to trial, they asked me. I didn't know him.
What about Michael?
Yes, I know. That's the guy I knew.
You have Michael's telephone number?
Yes, I do.
I'll take it.
One.
Now, Why do you believe that the district attorney moved to dismiss the case after you and your mother testified?
I don't know.
You have no idea? All right. What's your name, by the way?
Gino?
Gino! You weren't in the U-Haul at that day, were you?
Nope. And I've been with her for 19 months.
Okay. Well, let me go see if I can get in touch with Michael.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want to see this person and to identify me, and I do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monica Jones says Martha Escada falsely accused her of hit and run. She claims Martha was trying to pull a scam.
Well, Michael isn't there, but maybe I can get some information from the district attorney. By the way, do you have any photographs of your cars?
Yes, and I have another question. Who's this guy that she's telling you that that guy knew me? I want to see this guy, and I want to see if he's telling the truth. I don't know this guy. I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, bring the guy, tell me to my face that he knew me, and I'll tell to his face that I knew him too.
The question is not whether this guy knew you, madam. The question is whether you pulled up on the side of her truck. There was somebody in the car that you wanted to talk to. She wouldn't pull over, and then you claimed that she hit your vehicle and took off. She says that the U-Haul did, in fact, come in contact with your car, but it was because you were driving like a nut. So
Nope.
I want to see what the district attorney
That
has to
is
say.
not
If
true.
I can find the district attorney's name here, Richard Quinones. Let's see if we can locate him. And you have the paperwork while we're getting, see if we can get the
I have the
number. You
police
have the
report right
paperwork?
here, and I have pictures of my car.
Okay, let me see.
Also wanted to show the character when the police went to serve her. She said they didn't live there, and they do.
He didn't live where?
Initially when they went to serve her, and she said, "Oh, no one's here by that name. No one
Okay,
lives
about
here."
that.
And then the 10 days, my loss in pay, I brought my pay stub.
Just a second.
Okay.
I have to first find out
Oh.
whether these are false charges.
Okay.
That's what I have to find out.
Okay.
Do you understand?
All right. Yes, I do.
I mean, I wish I could get in touch with old Michael. That would make things easy. But since I can't, and you don't know the names of any of the other people.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, why don't you have a seat?
Is it okay?
Yes, is Mr. Quinones there, please?
Yo estaba discutiendo con ellos y yo me puse a un lado de ella.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. I haven't been able to reach either the district attorney at this hour, nor Mr. Alexander, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
So I want you to just hang around, and I'll see you back here as soon as we are able to get either one of these two people who should be
Okay, I
able
just
to
gave
give.
him a cell phone number.
You have a cell phone number for whom?
Michael Alexander.
Oh, that's perfect. Maybe we can do that. Yes.
When they went to serve me to that address, I moved since December. So I don't live in that address anymore. I live in Lake LA.
It's not important. Why is that important?
Because she said that when they went looking for me at that address, somebody told the police officer that.
And I
no
told her
one-
that wasn't important.
Okay.
The only thing that's important to me is whether or not you knew or appeared to have known someone who was driving in the truck with her on that date. And I would be also curious to find out why the district attorney moved on their own motion to dismiss this case after you and your mother testified. So we'll see you back here. Okay. Thank you. Well, I managed to speak to the assistant district attorney who handled the case. And after speaking to the assistant district attorney, he did in fact confirm to me that after the two of you testified, he decided to go out and have a personal look at the car that you say was damaged by the plaintiff. And after he made this personal inspection of the car, He believed that the damages to the car were inconsistent with the testimony that the two of you gave in court before she even had to put on her case. So he doubted your word, especially yours. That's number one. Number two, we were in fact successful in securing Michael Alexander's presence here for the recall. So, Bert, I believe Mr. Alexander is outside. Would you bring him in, please?
Sure thing, Judge. Michael Alexander?
Would you swear the witness, please?
Sure thing. Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in the matters before you?
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record.
Michael Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, prior to coming into court just now, did you speak to Miss Jones?
Yes.
Did she tell you the questions that she thought I would be asking you?
No.
Okay. You helped her move sometime in, when was it, May?
Yes.
And you had a couple of other people that you had gotten to help
Yes,
her?
ma'am.
Who were those other people?
Keith and Jose.
Do you know their last names?
No. I met them at labor.
There came a time that Miss Jones came to your house to pick you up.
Yes.
And these two other men were with you in the truck and you moved one day.
Yes.
Do you remember the second day of your move?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember an incident involving this young lady right here?
Yes.
Look at me and tell me what you remember.
Well, I remember that we was traveling down Avenue K after we dropped off her furniture at her house and was headed back to the storage. And Jose said, that's my girlfriend. And I seen her throw a U-turn.
Jose, put your hand down. Jose said, that's my girlfriend.
Yes.
Where was she when he said, that's my girlfriend?
She was headed east coming down Avenue K.
And what happened next?
She threw a U-turn and she came up on the U-Haul and she was driving all erratic and fast. She was flashing her lights and blowing her horn and doing hand signals up out the window. And
Did Jose say anything to her?
he said, well, she asked him, do you want me to pull over? And he said, no, don't stop. She just wanted to argue. And so we kept going.
Did you see Jose after the move? Have you seen him since?
No.
Have not?
No, ma'am.
Is there any question in your mind that this was the young lady in the car?
No.
Look at me. What color car was she driving?
Blue.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any questions for Mr. Alexander, you can ask me and I will ask him.
Okay. Who is this guy, Jose? I don't know nobody by that name, Jose. And I'm not going to let these people get away with it because they're lying. No. I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Miss Jones, I've been involved in the criminal justice system for a very long time. And I'll tell you right now, very rarely does a district attorney who takes a case to trial, impanels a jury of 12 people, wastes court time, expends time in preparing a case. Very rarely does a district attorney stand up at the end of their case and say, we don't believe our witnesses to the extent that we're moving to dismiss this case because we don't even want it to go any further. I mean, maybe on one hand I can remember that amount of time. This district attorney didn't believe you, didn't believe your mother about what happened. And I don't know who Jose is, but I certainly see the pictures of your car, and I've listened to her testify. I believe her. That's all I have to believe. I believe that you were having some sort of an argument with a guy who was in that U-Haul, and you were behaving erratically. She wouldn't pull over. You got ticked off. You called, and I believe that there was contact with the U-Haul. There's no question in my mind that there was contact with the U-Haul. It was your fault. And maybe you thought you could make a couple of bucks. No. That's what I think. That's what I think. And the fact that you called the police. Have you ever been incarcerated before, Miss Jones?
No.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an accountant.
I think that not only did you cause her trouble, because I looked at how many times she had to appear in court based upon your phone call to the police that was fraudulent, she had to appear in court. She had to be embarrassed. There's a certain embarrassment about it. When it was your fault and you lied. And she's entitled to what she's asking for, which is $5,000. And I'm entering a judgment for that. $5,000 professional.
21-year-old customer service manager Ryan Sells is suing his co-worker, 18-year-old inventory clerk Kristen Ballou, for having him falsely arrested for a sexual assault. Kristen says Ryan fondled her at work.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 69 on the calendar in the matter of Sells versus Ballou. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Sells, it is your claim that the defendant filed false charges of sexual assault against you. And ultimately, those charges were dismissed. I assume they were dismissed after a trial. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to be compensated?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how you know the defendant.
The defendant is an employee that I work with. I am her supervisor.
And how long have you worked together?
I believe about a year.
Now, according to your complaint, something happened with the defendant's boyfriend that sort of precipitated all of this. You want to tell me about that?
Yes, ma'am. Beginning in February, Mr. Alphen, the defendant's boyfriend, began leaving threatening notes on my car. I reported them to the police. The first time they said it could be just a mistake, so they wanted to let it go. If it happened again, to come see them. So I did. It happened again in March. I got another threatening note. I had the police come down.
Do you have those notes?
I do have part of one. It was raining outside, so it got pretty destroyed. The other one is at the police station as evidence. So, I'm to give this to the judge, please.
Tell me my job.
Okay. How many notes in total did the defendant's boyfriend leave on your car?
I received 2. After the second one, I went to the police again, and they came to my place of employment. We watched the surveillance tapes to discover that it was Mr. Alphen.
You didn't know who it was at the time?
Not until I saw the surveillance tapes.
Go ahead.
When they found out who it was, they asked me what I wanted to do about it, and I said I would like to file a complaint. I filed a complaint on the 23rd, and they said they were going to talk to him or have him arrested because he had admitted to it because they had talked to him previously. He was arrested, and then an hour after he was arrested, Miss Ballou went to the police and told them that I had sexually assaulted her between the dates of March 1st through March 4th. She couldn't remember when. However, on the citation when I was arrested, she narrowed it down to March 4th at 12:30 p.m.
Do you have those complaints?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please.
Also, on the time that she claims it occurred, Miss Ballou claims it occurred at 12:30 p.m. March 4th. However, I have coinciding records that show Miss Ballou did not clock in for work until 12:57 that day. There would be no possible way in that 27 minutes I could do an override or a supervisor function for her if she had not even gotten a register yet or been at work.
So what happened when you were arrested, Mr. Sells? You were arrested, ultimately, I assume you had to hire a lawyer, you were given a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
You hired a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
What happened with the boyfriend's case?
We were both given the date of May 2nd. However, I moved it up to 4/18 because I felt I wanted to get it over with. The situation was bad enough. I didn't need to let it drag out. Mr. Alphen pleaded guilty to harassment and was given a year's probation, the same date that my trial was.
What happened at the end of the trial?
My lawyer kept pushing that we had surveillance tapes and videotapes that had to be shown if they wanted to prove, you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was not guilty. The judge didn't want to watch the tapes, so he appointed the prosecutor and my attorney to watch the tapes. They watched the tapes. A few days later, the judge ruled not guilty.
Did the prosecutor agree that that was...
Yes,
did
yes,
move to
he
dismiss
agreed.
the charges?
Yes, the judge, the prosecutor, and my lawyer were all together in it.
Okay. Now, I've read in your complaint, sir, that you had had a conversation with Miss Ballou, either you or your lawyer, prior to the date set for both her boyfriend and you to appear in court with regard to dropping the charges. Can you tell me about that conversation?
We were in court getting ready for my trial, and Miss Ballou's lawyer, attorney, came to my attorney and spoke with us about if I would drop the charges against Mr. Alphen, then they would drop the charges against me.
And you declined to do that?
Yes, I did, due to my innocence.
Were you suspended from your job for any period of time?
Yes, I was, ma'am.
For how long?
33 days.
You are now back at work?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the defendant?
She wasn't suspended. She is still employed.
All right, Miss Ballou, now I'll hear you.
Well, when I made the complaint to the officer in the report, it was not the 4th. It was sometime the first week, the 1st or the 4th.
What date did you start to work at the company together with the plaintiff?
The beginning of August, I would say.
Of 2001?
Yes.
And Mr. Sells was your supervisor all that time?
Yes.
And was this gentleman your boyfriend all of that time? Yes. Now, I want you to stand up, sir. Your last name is?
Alfin.
Mr. Alfin, why were you leaving notes on the plaintiff's car?
Because my girlfriend, then my fiance now, is being sexually assaulted at work.
No, sexually assaulted is a conclusion. What did your girlfriend tell you that inspired you to leave these notes?
The plaintiff, Ryan, a person that's our personal space, and at work he would stand very close to Kristen, talk to her in a flirty manner, try to rub her shoulders, and she would tell him to stop, and he would just blow it off like she was joking. He would try to hug her all the time and put his hands toward her breasts. And, yes, ma'am.
That you're making up?
No, ma'am.
That you're making up as you're going? Keep going.
And finally there was an incident at work where he got very close to her, rubbed himself on her.
No, that happened in March, sir. That happened after you wrote the notes on his car.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after you left these notes on his car, which you, I assume, did not sign.
No, Your Honor.
What did you say in the notes, sir?
I called him a little bitch.
You called him a little bitch?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know
Now,
if
why would you call him a little bitch? Please.
Because I was very angry.
A little bitch is not something that you call a man. You may call a man a, but you don't call a man a little bitch. Now, why did you call him a little bitch, sir?
Because I was very angry at him for touching my fiancée, ma'am.
You're not answering my question.
Well,
Officer Byrd understands my question. You call a woman a bitch. You don't call a man a little bitch. And you know that. So why would you call him a little bitch?
Because I was angry, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And you fudged it a little bit with the, he rubbed up against me, and he touched my back.
If Ryan would not have done anything to me, there would have been no more.
I don't believe he did anything to you, madam. I think you're full of baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ryan Sells claims he was arrested when co-worker Christine Ballou made false allegations of sexual assault. Ryan says she was looking for revenge.
Now, Miss Ballou, is it just coincidental, madam, that you filed a formal complaint for the first time for incidents that had occurred months before, 1 hour after your boyfriend was arrested? Is that just coincidental? Is that what you want me to believe?
No, I have...
It was on purpose?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me, what inspired you 1 hour after your boyfriend was arrested to file this complaint?
Well, I had talked to management about it before, and they didn't seem to do anything. So the officer didn't cuff him or anything. He just came to our place of work and told him that both of us needed to meet him at the police station. So we went down there, and I told him everything that Mr. Sells has done to me, and he asked me if I would like to make a complaint, and I said yes. But that day, when we were at work, when I turned him into management for like the 5th time after they didn't do anything, he came back up to work after he
Do you have any copies of the reports that you made to management prior to March of 2002?
They didn't have me write a statement. They just talked.
And you didn't write a statement?
They did not
No, you did not write a statement. You have the ability to write a statement.
I did write statements with one of my management.
Oh, let me see it.
I don't have them. They would not let us take anything out of...
Mm-hmm. Well, if you write a statement, an intelligent person keeps a copy. Go ahead.
Ryan came back up to work after he found out that I had turned him in and walked up to my register when I was checking people out, told me I was full in sexual harassment, all this was bull.
I believe that's true.
So...
I believe that's true.
I have...
Oh, I believe... Let me see your proof.
That Ryan has done this to me and other women and that other people have seen it.
You want them?
I don't want letters. I don't know who the people are. I don't know if they're your friends. I don't know. Certainly your letter is self-serving.
One of the women that are on here is sitting right over there that states...
You have a letter from a woman who is sitting over here?
I have a letter from a woman that saw Mr. Sells, the way he acts sexually towards this woman sitting over here.
Oh, well, let me see. Don't tell me your name.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I bring my witness over to speak with you?
Sure.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Lisa Volo.
Lisa, you're mentioned in this letter as someone who the plaintiff made sexual comments to, never touching or anything else, but sexual comments to. Can you think of any of those comments?
No, he never has. And in fact, the Monday after Mr. Sells was arrested, I was called into the management's office. They wanted me to make a statement against Mr. Sells. Ms. Ballou said that I had witnessed the whole sexual assault. And at that time, I made a statement saying that I never witnessed anything, and I never saw Mr. Sells.
How long have you been working at the same place as the plaintiff?
I've been working at this store for 9 months.
Have you ever seen Mr. Sells do anything of a sexual nature that was untoward physically to anyone?
No, ma'am, I've never.
And I want you to be honest with me about this. Have you ever heard him say anything, even in a joking manner, that might be construed as being inappropriate?
No, I have never.
Now, Mr. Rolfin, did your girlfriend and now fiancé ever say that she didn't like the way Mr. Sills was talking to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever go up to him and discuss it with him?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I was very angry and I did not want to take any physical action against Mr. Sells.
That's not physical action.
Well,
That's not physical action. Let's just say, listen, you may think something is cute, but my girlfriend doesn't appreciate it. So I'd like you to not talk to her about anything other than being very professional, rather than writing these sick notes and leaving them on his car unsigned.
But if Brian would not have done anything to me, there would have been no motive.
I don't believe he did anything to you, madam. I think you're full of baloney. I think maybe you didn't like the way he talked to you, but there isn't a chance in hell that he sexually assaulted you as you outlined in your papers. And what you did was your boyfriend got busted because he wrote nasty notes on the car, and this was your way of gaining leverage. Because if you would have said, well, he talked to me inappropriately, they would not have arrested him. They would not have arrested him. So you fudged it a little bit with the, he rubbed up against me and he touched my back. Now, your boyfriend has an interesting choice of words when he refers to the plaintiff. So he may not have liked him for a variety of reasons. But there is no question in my mind that you are full of it when you say that he physically touched you. So, he was out of work for 33 days. He hired a lawyer. The maximum he is suing for in the jurisdiction where you come from is $3,000.
Yes,
I believe you are entitled to every penny.
Thank
Judgment
you
for the
so
plaintiff.
much,
That's
Judge.
all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And everyone knows that she lied and that I was totally innocent the whole time.
Ryan knows what he did, and he should be punished, but he's not.
I never seen Ryan do anything, and I just knew she was lying.
Stay away from Ryan.
Miss Ballou put me through hell for nothing.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pate versus Preston. Step forward, please.
Bill Pate is suing his former live-in girlfriend, home health care worker Margaret Preston, for a $2,000 cell phone bill. Margaret is countersuing for the return of her property and for harassment.
Mr. Pate, according to your complaint, the defendant and her daughter moved into your home. And at some point, you put her on your cell phone. She
Yes,
was
ma'am.
using a cell phone that you were responsible for. She and her daughter subsequently moved out, and she had accumulated several $1,000s in phone bills on the cell phone, and you believe she is responsible for those bills.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Preston says that there was never an agreement with regard to her repaying you for her cell phone use, and she has a counterclaim. She says that you kept some of her property when she moved out, and that you have embarked upon a campaign of harassing her. When and why did she and her daughter move in with you, sir?
We had, if you will use the term loosely, dated in the past. For approximately a year, she is married. She'd been talking on many occasions the past fall about leaving her husband. She wasn't happy. We had talked on a few occasions about maybe trying to get together, start dating. I told her a few times, I got a 4-bedroom house. I live in a good neighborhood. I'm a single guy. Move in with me. We'll see what happens.
Okay, continue, sir.
I got a U-Haul rental truck and moved her and her daughter into my house. This is December 21st, I believe. She was working some sort of home health care job. In the beginning of January, she made a comment. We felt it would be good. I agreed with her. She could use a cell phone for her job. She wasn't able to get one because of her credit. But I said, well, listen, we'll go out, we'll get you a cell phone. We'll put it under my name, my plan, because I already currently have one. What we need to do is you have to be able to pay for half the bill and anything above and beyond that. You use extra minutes, you're going to have to pay for that. I can't afford that stuff. She agreed. I went out, I bought her a $150 phone. January 9th, we had this plan started and purchased the phone. I had the phone shut off March 22nd. The phone bill was well over $2,000.
Can I see a copy of the phone bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you discuss the phone bill with her?
A number of occasions.
Is that right?
I had agreed to pay half, yes. But
You
I
did?
was only told about $1,000. And I have one bill here of $189.
Who were you talking to?
Your Honor.
Who were you talking to?
People calling me about going different places for my work. I do home health care.
People calling you or you calling them?
Both.
She has 1 month with 874 calls. They are detailed, my phone number, my calls, her phone number, her calls. She has 874 calls in 1 month. That month alone, I believe the bill shows $1,080 in extra minutes alone.
Okay, the bills that you've given me are $1,635. Okay, now, I'm interested, Ms. Preston, because in your answer to this complaint, you say that you never had an agreement with him to pay this bill.
We had a verbal agreement that I would pay
Oh,
half.
you did?
But when I tried to, for instance, I bought groceries one time. My daughter was a witness to Bill going through the roof over the fact that I had bought groceries. He didn't want my money. And this
Well, that's what
happened
you
on
say in
Friday.
your answer, but now you say that you do have a responsibility to pay this phone bill.
But he would not accept my money.
Did you ever offer him money for the phone bill?
No, I did not have the $2,000. I never saw a $2,000 phone bill.
Okay, now you want to tell me about your counterclaim, please.
When I moved out, I recorded a conversation between Bill and I where he was off and on saying whether or not he was going to give me my stuff. At one point he said he'd give me my stuff and we'd just call it even. He threatened to hold my stuff, so to speak, hostage for $1,000 because that's what he said the phone bill was. He couldn't make up his mind about how much the phone bill was. I finally was able to talk him into letting me come in and get my stuff, and I got a U-Haul truck and some friends went over, got as much of my stuff as I could, and have discovered that there was a lot that I didn't get, and there were things that were ruined while I lived there. Because he has 3 dogs. They urinated or chewed my stuff up.
I'm not interested in what his dogs did to your stuff. You were living there. Voluntarily.
Yes.
His dogs
Your
pulled
Honor?
apart. Do I look like I need help? Okay. Now, if you didn't like living there, you should have moved out, which you ultimately did, but then you don't sue him because his dogs damaged some of your stuff. What stuff do you claim he didn't give you?
I don't have an itemized list, Your Honor.
Well, then you don't get anything for that. So then let's go to the next part of your counterclaim, which was for harassment. You want to tell me about that?
I have a taped conversation. It's a very vulgar taped conversation.
Why
with
don't you
him.
tell me about it?
Just harassing me, telling me I can't have my stuff, cussing me out about
But he
a
ultimately gave you
conversation.
your stuff.
Some of it.
Is that what you're
harassed my daughter.
Is that what you're talking about? Is that the harassment that you're talking
Yes,
about?
not only did he harass my daughter, but so did his witness.
His witness isn't on trial today, so you have no counterclaim. And he has a claim. That's the bills that he's presented to me are $1,635. That you get. Now, did you shut off the cell phone, sir?
Oh, yes, I did. I had it
That is very,
long ago.
very smart. That's all.
All right, case number 225 on the calendar in the matter of Martinez versus Singleton. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
All right, Ms. Martinez, your claim is one for assault and injury that you allege that Mr. Singleton caused you. I'm going to try to put this case in perspective so we can get down to the nitty-gritty of it swiftly because I have other business today. You brought your car into his shop to have your car windows tinted.
Yes.
Had you ever had dealings with him before?
Never.
You brought it in early one morning, and when you called at about midday to find out if the car was ready, Mr. Singleton or somebody else in the shop said that they hadn't started working on it yet, but it would be ready sometime later that day.
Correct.
Well, you were annoyed that your car hadn't been worked on yet. You came down to the shop to get the car. It was at that point that you claimed that there was an altercation. You got into your car and you claimed that Mr. Singleton became obstreperous, slammed the car door onto your left arm, causing you to be injured, causing pain and suffering and a whole bunch of other things. Mr. Singleton says you're a very good actress, right?
Yes.
When had you made arrangements to take the car into his shop, Miss Martinez?
I called him the evening before. I called him on the 26th.
And he said bring it in what time in the morning?
He said he does it only by appointments and to be there at 8 o'clock.
And you were there at 8 a.m.?
I was.
What time did he tell you to pick up the car?
He asked me to call him about 2 o'clock.
So what time did you call?
I actually called at 12 as I was leaving for lunch. I thought maybe when I was done with at my lunch hour that I could go by and pick up my car because the night before he had told me he would only need my car for 4 hours.
Okay. Called at noon, and what did he say?
He was very angry at me and told me that I was not supposed to call him until 2 o'clock. I was told not to call him And I tried explaining to him, well, I'm leaving for lunch right now. I was going to be gone for an hour. I thought maybe at 1 p.m. I could come by and pick it up. Well, we haven't started it yet. And he said, call me back at 2. And I thought at that point, because he was so rude to me on the telephone, I didn't feel comfortable with him having my vehicle. So I called him back and I told him that I was on my way, that I wasn't going to have my car done there. If he needed my car for 4 hours, he wasn't going to have my car ready by 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, if he hadn't even started
Fine,
it yet.
so you went down to get your car. You told him, don't work on my car. I'm coming down to pick it up.
Yeah, and I said it very nicely. I wasn't angry.
So you went down to pick up your car.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I walked into the building. There, I have pictures of the building. I walked into the building on the left-hand side.
Would you talk to me and stop looking at pictures? I don't care which side you walked in.
Okay, well, I walked into the business, and I was standing at the counter. There was 2 gentlemen tinting windows. Mr. Singleton was not there. And I stood there for a moment, and I kind of said out loud, I'm here to pick up my keys for my vehicle. And I looked over, and there was a board on the left-hand side, and there was my keys, and there was an invoice there. And I go, oh, here they are right here. No one said anything, so I picked up my keys, and I actually took the invoice as well. It had no writing on it but my address. I was not comfortable with him having my address, so I wanted to remove my address out of there, and if he brought the invoice, it would show very clearly that I was not messing with his numbers if he had reasons.
You didn't think about all this stuff. Come on, you picked up your keys and the invoice was on it. What did you do next?
I started walking to my vehicle, and I believe his witness here was yelling at me, not the paperwork, not the paperwork. And I continued walking. Well, he came over and he snatched the paper out of my hand. And I said, well, that's okay. I go, I just wanted my address out of there. He got the paper and there was no words. I went to my car, I got in my car. Mr. Singleton came out of a totally different building, and he came up to my car, in front of my car, over to my car, and opened my car door. He was yelling at me.
Opened which door?
He opened my driver's door, where I was sitting. He opened my door.
You had already gotten into the car and closed the door?
I was in my car. I had started my car.
Go ahead.
And so he came over, opened my car door. He started yelling at me. He was furious at me. For what reason, I don't know why.
What did he say, Miss Martinez?
Oh, he was yelling at me that I was supposed to not call him until 2 o'clock. I couldn't even tell you everything he was yelling at me. I don't remember. I was shocked that he was yelling at me.
Go ahead.
So I tried closing my car door. I reached to close my car door, and he had his arm like this on my car door standing, and he pulled it back away from me. I said, it really doesn't matter. And he was so angry, and he just kept yelling at me. And so I sat there. There was nothing I could do. And then he's called me, and he slammed my door as hard as he could, and it hit me in my arm area here, and it shoved my area here. When he did that, he walked away. I sat there for a minute, 1, because I was in shock, 2, because he had just hurt me. And then I got out of my car and told him I was calling the police and having him arrested for assault.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What you testified to today did not require a whole bunch of tears. You didn't find out that somebody died. You're a little bit of an actress.
And later today,
he proposed to me and broke it off.
So what? If he wasn't going to be a good husband, you're all going to go home and you're going to say, lucky, we called it off when we should have. Goodbye and good luck.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Karen Martinez says window tinting technician Kent Singleton detained her at his place of business and then assaulted her. Kent says Karen is a good actress.
Go ahead. He yelled at me continually still. I asked my girlfriend, because my phone was not charged, I asked my girlfriend if I could use her telephone. So I got the phone from her and I called 911. He's yelling at me to get off his property. I was not in my car at that time and just kept yelling to get off his property. And I said, I'm trying, because I was getting the phone and dialing. So I finally did get off his property, and I waited for the police for about an hour and a half to get there. They took a report. I have the report.
I'd like to see the report.
Okay. The girlfriend that was with me, she had fully intended to come today. She's a school teacher, and she wasn't able to come today. Her statement...
I don't take her statement.
Okay.
How come you decided not to prosecute?
When the officer came out and took the report, I told him that I wanted to have him arrested, and he talked me out of it. He said that if I did that, he could turn around and have me arrested or have me prosecuted.
For what?
for a false statement, or I don't know why he said that. He just said that it could turn around on me.
Just says the victim desired no prosecution.
I've also talked to somebody at the station since then.
Don't tell me what you said to somebody at the station, madam. That's hearsay. Okay.
Well, I wanted to
have a
find
couple
out.
of things. What?
I wanted to find out because I didn't know that's what that meant. I didn't know that.
Well, that's what
that
it means. It means no prosecution. What do you mean you don't know what that meant? No prosecution.
I didn't have the report at that time, so
but that's
I
what
didn't
it means.
know.
The victim desires no prosecution means that you decided not to prosecute. Mr. Singleton, okay, you have a slightly different version of the events, sir, but there's one thing that you do say. She was in her car with the car door closed, and you told the police that you opened her car door. Why did you do that, sir?
Because Rich told me what she said to him and what she did up in front, and he said that...
Wait a second. What she did was she took her keys and a piece of paper that was a work order. Your employee had already gotten back the work order. There's nothing on the work order except her name and address and what work was to be done, because no work was done on the car. Is that right?
Yeah, but it shows proof. I mean, if she went and had her car tinted someplace else and, say, got a bad job, she could sit there and say, I have a receipt.
Correct. She could have done that, sir. However, your employee had already gotten back the work order, so all she had was her car and her keys. Why did you open her car door?
Because she basically took the course of events from the very beginning to the very end and twisted them around. And
No. Let me explain something. It's not what happened. And you told her to be there at 8 o'clock. Happens all the time. You tell everybody that day, bring your car in at 8 o'clock. When you get around to doing their car, you do it. She hadn't specified to you what time she needed her car back. And this I'm getting all from what you told the police initially, sir. So, because she wasn't one of the customers that day that said, I need my car back in 4 hours, you pushed her over until later. And you did other cars before you did hers.
No, I never do that.
Well, you did. You were doing other cars before you did hers. But that's okay. You're entitled to do that.
No, I don't do that, ma'am.
Okay. You're entitled to do it if you want to do it. I mean, you hadn't started working on her car at noon, and she brought the car in at 8 o'clock in the morning.
We tell people to be there between 8 and 9 in the morning.
Fine.
Okay, the cars are done according to the way they came in. I have a very, very strong company policy of not putting anybody in front of somebody.
Listen to me, Mr. Singleton. You can tell people, be there at 8 o'clock. It takes 4 hours. You do not explain to them that you're coming in on a first-come, first-served basis. And that may be your policy. Because if you worked strictly on appointment, you would have said to her, be there at 2 o'clock and I will have your car ready for you at 6 o'clock. That's an appointment. But you don't. You have the cars stacked up so that the cars are waiting for you rather than you waiting for the cars. That's your business. You're entitled to do that. I'm not faulting you for that, sir. I'm faulting you because you opened her car door. The situation had already de-escalated. If there was any problem up front, any problem at all up front, that had already been resolved with your witness, who took the paperwork back. Right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So she had a car, she had her keys, she was hysterical. So she's out. So
Ma'am, may I tell you something?
I don't want to hear anything else from you because I don't like exaggerators either. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I hear you.
Good. Because what you testified to today did not require a whole bunch of tears. I mean, nobody killed your child or you didn't find out that somebody died.
No, I'm
It's
very
months later.
sensitive.
It's months later. You had an altercation with a mechanic, which happens frequently, unfortunately, and he slammed the door, and I believe that he hurt your arm when he slammed the door, that the door hit your arm because you're not totally in the car, you're not careful of that, and he slammed it, and at that moment it hurt your arm. I don't believe that you almost died as a result of that.
No, I
Understand
didn't.
that? Okay, so I don't see why it required all the tears, unless, as the defendant says, you're a little bit of an actress.
No, I'm very
That doesn't mean that
sensitive.
he's allowed to do what he did. He can't. Because she slammed the door in her arm, and you hurt her. So aside from saying, I'm sorry, you got to compensate her. Let me see your medical bills. What day of the week was it that you went to his place of business?
It was a Thursday.
Were you working on Friday, June 28th?
Yes, I was at work.
Right. And am I correct that the first time you went to any sort of a clinic or doctor was not until July 1st?
Yes.
And what time did you go to the clinic on July 1st?
I went as soon as I could get the first appointment. I went between 8 and 8:30 in the morning.
And then you went to work that day?
No, I did not. I was taken off work for 3 days. I couldn't move my head. I couldn't drive.
But you were fine the next day?
No, I was not fine the
You
next
stayed
day.
at work all day on the 28th?
Yes, my arm was very sore.
Okay.
But it was 3 days later I woke up and something in my neck and my shoulder here was hurting me, and I couldn't lift my head off the bed. I called my supervisor. My supervisor from work came and picked me up and took me to the doctors. I couldn't drive. I couldn't hardly do anything.
What else do you want to tell me, Mr. Singleton?
I feel that when she called and said, "Is my car ready?" She says, "I have to have it by 2 o'clock. I have somewhere to go." I said, "Ma'am, it will be ready by 2 o'clock. It takes us an hour to do each car, then it will sit out outside for an hour. It's hot during the summertime. The tent dries quick." I says, "It will be ready by 2. She hangs up and calls back a minute later. "I'm going to come and pick up my car right now."
Fine.
Now, I've had people upset before because their car isn't being done first. But we do have a bad problem with people making appointments. If we tried to do 8, 10, 12, 2, and people don't show, then we're sitting around for 2 hours not making any money. And it is a business.
I understand that, but she said, "I'm coming to get my car." She has a right to do that.
She does have a right to do that.
And I wasn't angry.
I didn't ask you to say anything.
Okay.
He's been very quiet when you've been testifying.
You're right.
Go ahead.
What she did to Rich and what she did to me.
What'd she do to you?
Basically, she twisted. She goes, "I can't believe you haven't touched my car yet."
So?
And I said, "Well, ma'am," I says, "we will have it done at that time." I says, "It's very frustrating, you know, when you're sitting there trying to run a business and people," I'm very clear with people. I tell them.
So I'm not interested in being clear with people. I want to know why you didn't just let her get into her car and leave. You hadn't touched her car, hadn't done any work on her car. She has a right to let that happen. So, should have just let her go.
I probably should have.
And you were angry, and you slammed the car door on her.
Well, I know the door didn't touch her. I mean,
You don't know that at all.
I looked right at her.
You don't know that it didn't hit her at all. You were angry. You slammed the car door. That's what you did. That's what you did, Mr. Singleton.
Can I have Rich stand up for a sec?
No.
Because he was standing right there.
No. I believe that you slammed the car, that you were really angry, that you came in. It was one less job that you were going to do that day. You felt that she was being unreasonable, that you were told her to call at 2 o'clock. Instead of calling at 2, she called at 12, 2 hours beforehand, which took somebody away from what they were supposed to be doing in order to answer her questions when she was told not to call until 2 o'clock.
We don't tell people, you know.
Well, she was told not to call until 2, that you weren't going to have any news for her until 2 o'clock as to when her car was going to be ready. Whatever it is, you don't want a dissatisfied customer. Not happy? She leaves. You lost your temper, and you slammed the car door, and it hurt her. It didn't hurt her $5,000 worth. Did you go to see a lawyer, by the way?
No.
Lawyer would tell her, this is not a $5,000 injury. How much out-of-pocket expense did you have?
$550.25, ma'am.
And how many days were you out of work?
3 days.
How much do you earn a day?
$136, ma'am.
Your out-of-pocket expenses are approximately $1,500. To that, I'm adding another $1,000 for your pain and suffering. That's it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Thank
Parties
you,
are
ma'am.
excused. You may step out.
Well, that's pretty evident. The way she's crying, everything. She is a drama queen.
The whole thing was upsetting, and I'm glad that it's over now.
According to you, the defendant slashed 3 of the tires on your car.
Correct.
You want him to be responsible for replacing them. Mr. Spielman says he didn't do it. What's your first name?
Andrew,
How old are you, Andrew?
23.
How long do you know Mr. Spielman?
I've known Mr. Spielman since about the 7th grade.
On what night were you out together, the night that the tires were slashed?
I believe it was a Friday night. I don't remember the exact
Remember the
date.
night?
29th, I think.
29th of?
December.
Where had you been?
We were on our way to Randy White's brother-in-law's boss's house.
You were driving?
Yes, I
What
was
happened
driving.
in the car?
An argument started because Brett Spielman wanted to get some marijuana, and everybody else in the car was against that. And
Where did
basically
he want to go to get the marijuana?
to his dealer's house.
And did you know where that was?
No, I did not.
Did he tell you where it was?
No, he did not.
Was it on the way?
I hadn't even agreed to it, so he didn't get to the point of telling me where it was
Well,
at.
tell me exactly what he said.
He said, I want to go get some pot. Can you take me? And I said, no. And nobody else in this car wants to do that. Can you please stop with that altogether?
How many other people were in the car?
2, besides me and Brett.
And who are they?
Randy White and Brandon, his brother-in-law, which I do not know his last name.
So what happened?
So I said no, and he started ranting and raving and basically basically turned it into an argument with Randy White, and they were going back and forth, and I didn't want to hear it anymore, so I said, please stop, because they didn't get along anyway. So it basically had turned into an argument with them, and I said...
Where was he sitting, in the front or the back?
He was sitting in the front seat, beside me.
Okay, go ahead.
And then we had arrived to Randy's boss's house. We had both got out of the car while Randy and his brother-in-law went upstairs. We were downstairs smoking a cigarette, and it was going to take a turn to get violent because he was saying threats and all this.
Against whom?
Against me.
Why was he threatening you? I thought he was having an argument with Randy.
The argument was with Randy, but I took involvement in it because Randy was a lot smaller than him, and I didn't want it to go there, so I stepped up in Randy's place, and then
what
basically
did you say to him?
The focus came on me. I said, you need to stop all this right now or I'm going to make you walk home. And he said, you're not going to make me walk home, this and that. And
Had he been
drinking?
Had he been drinking?
No, I do not think he had been drinking.
It was just nasty?
Yeah, he was just nasty with me.
Okay, keep going.
And then Randy and his brother-in-law had come back down, and we all got in the car, and I said, I'm going to make him walk home because he's just being too defiant for any of us to deal with.
What did he say when you told him he was going to walk home?
He got even worse. But
Well, tell me what he said, Mr. Peck.
He was using a lot of cuss words, a lot of profanity, a lot of I'm going to everybody in that car, and just threats.
And that was on the 29th of December.
Yes.
What time?
I would say it was about 8 p.m.
Okay. Now let's fast forward a little bit, Ms. Powers. Tell me about the incident involving your tires. When did that take place?
December 30th.
What time?
I would say around shortly before 10, but not exactly. I don't know.
So tell me what happened.
Okay. It was a very, very stormy night. The wind was blowing and howling, and it was raining a lot. And the dog was circling the front door. And she was like yipping and barking, and she doesn't usually have that kind of behavior at all unless someone's at the door. But I opened the door and nobody was there. She kept doing it. So I opened the door again, and Mr. Spielman was standing on the other side of the car. My driveway comes up where the car is parked directly outside my front door, so I can clearly see it. And I said, what are you doing? Because it's kind of late to be coming over. And I thought he was coming to see my son, and just looked at me and took off.
Didn't say anything to you. Okay, keep going.
The next day I got up to go to work, and I, of course, didn't see the first tire because it was fine. Walked around the car and saw 1, 2, 3 tires flat. And so I called someone to come and take me to get new tires and called into work.
Okay, when did you see Andrew?
I saw him later that day.
Do you remember that day, Andrew?
Not too clearly. I remember her saying that 3 of my tires were slashed. Do you have any idea who would do it? And I said, I most certainly have an idea of who did it.
Well, I also
Shut up!
Okay.
Don't speak. You said, I most certainly have an idea who did it.
Yes, regarding the incident.
And so you told your mother about the incident?
Yes.
And what did your mother say to you?
And then she said, I seen Brett in our driveway. I was thinking he would come up to get you, because at the time she didn't think I was enemies with Brett. And I said, well, that's who did it.
So when you said to her, I certainly do, and then she said to you, I
saw Brett in the driveway. And
And
then we knew right there who it was.
Okay, good.
I just didn't think Brett would have done anything like that to me.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Spielman. Now I'm listening to you.
The statement's completely false.
Listen to me. Let's get to the car on the 29th of December.
Okay, cool. We were in the car.
Look at me. Don't look over there. You're in the car.
We are in the car. We do have a conflicting argument about something. Okay, marijuana. I do what I do when my time away from me.
Let's go slowly. You're in the car and you have an argument. You have an argument about what?
I really cannot even remember. Honestly, don't remember.
You just told me it was about marijuana.
If it was about marijuana, I'm saying I'm not denying that, because I do smoke marijuana on my pastime from time to time.
So that if Andrew says that the argument was about stopping to buy marijuana, that would be
It
accurate.
could have been, but it couldn't have been.
Well, if you don't remember, sir, then I have to credit Andrew's account of the evening of the 29th, because that would seem to be something that you would remember. Where do you live?
Sacramento.
And how far did you have to walk home?
I didn't walk home. See, that's where the story changes. He ended up giving me a ride home.
Did you ultimately give him a
No,
ride
I
home?
did not give him a ride home, Your Honor.
Okay. Did he threaten to leave you stranded?
Yes, he did, but it was raining pretty bad outside, so I kind of negotiated my way to get a ride home.
What do you mean you kind of negotiated?
Well, I
your
said
way to
it's
drive?
kind of raining out and I don't have a coat, and it would keep kind of messed up. I had to walk home.
You've known this family for a very long time.
Very
How old
long
are you
time.
now?
21 years old.
Currently on probation?
Juvenile, almost off. I'm going National Guard.
Yes, you're currently on probation.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been on probation?
Since I was like 17.
Keep going.
Okay. Are we still on the 29th or are we going to the 30th?
No, I'm past the 29th. I credit Mr. Geraldson's account of what happened on the 29th, sir. I believe he told me the truth. I believe you had an argument starting with Randy, ending up with Andrew about your desire to stop at the person who supplies you with marijuana, to get some marijuana, and they didn't want to do it.
Though.
I'm speaking. And they didn't want to do it, and you became aggressive, and that's what the argument was about. So since you don't remember something that I probably would remember, but something that clearly you don't remember.
It was a year ago.
Well, I would remember, sir, a falling out that I had with a child.
He wasn't a very good friend. He always
Why don't
bickered.
you let me finish my statement, sir? Listen to the statement that I'm going to say to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So is what you're telling me, sir, that you were together with your mother and the rest of your family?
Yes, I am.
And if I were to ask you, you would tell me that your son was home with you?
And later today,
Together off and on suggests to me that when it was off, it was because it wasn't good, right?
Yes.
Did you think having a baby was going to make it better?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 23-year-old Andrew Geraldson says his former friend, Brett Spielman, slashed 3 of his tires. Andrew claims his mother witnessed the incident.
If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Do you know what that means, Mr. Spielman?
Honestly, I do.
Tell me what it means.
It means if I know what happened, I don't have to remember. Look for the answer.
Right. That's what it means. So you're telling me it was over a year ago?
Over a year ago.
I'm speaking. And therefore, you can't quite remember everything that happened that evening. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So if you don't remember what happened on the evening of the 29th, which clearly, you know, you're in a car with people, there's a big argument, it's raining very badly, you have to negotiate your way back to the car in order to get a ride home. These are all little smatterings of things that you remember, right? Little smatterings of things that you remember.
Yeah.
You don't remember all of it, but you remember little pieces of it.
Most of it.
You remember most of it. So the argument was about marijuana.
Yes, it was. I feel
Perfect.
so.
Now that your memory has been refreshed, why don't you tell me about the 30th?
The 30th?
Look at me.
The 30th? Well, my mom can vouch that I was with her.
I don't ask your mom to vouch for anything, sir. I'm asking you.
On the 30th, I was at my residence from 6 o'clock in the night, and I fell asleep on my couch with my entire family with a movie night. The night before New Year's Eve, my mom volunteers at a local social club she's involved in on New Year's Eve, so we always are together on most holidays and that night usually.
Well, just a minute. I don't understand something. Does your mother volunteer her time?
I'm
speaking!
Well, you
Does your mother volunteer her time at a social club, sir, so that she's not home on the 30th, so the rest of your family gets together? Is that what you're just telling me?
No, the night before we all stay together because we're going to be separated on New Year's Eve.
So is what you're telling me, sir, that you were together with your mother and the rest of your family?
Yes, I am.
And if I were to ask you, you would tell me that your son was home with you?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be unfortunate. That would be unfortunate.
I'm sorry.
I have a couple of questions for you. What does he do for a living?
He's going to the National Guard. He's been working.
So the answer is he doesn't do anything.
He's not working currently, no.
And he's not going to school?
No.
And how long have you permitted that circumstance?
He's only not worked a few months. He's going...
A few months is a very long time for somebody who's 21 years old and on probation. What did he do before a couple of months ago? Who did he work for?
A company called Prologics.
What kind of work did he do?
Warehouse work.
And why did he leave that job?
They merged with Heist.
So he got fired?
Laid off.
How many children? Did I ask you a question?
No, you didn't, but it's just making me sound worse than I am, you know? Be fair, too.
I don't mind being fair, sir, when people tell me the truth.
I'm honestly telling you the truth.
Oh, no, you're not. The sweat on your brow tells me you're not.
I'm on TV.
Did you see sweat there? Look. You see sweat there?
No.
There. Look at your mother. Is she sweating? You know why she's not sweating? Because I didn't ask her what happened on the 30th. That's why she's not sweating. If I asked her what happened on the 30th, I guarantee you she'd be, when I got finished with her, she'd be sweating. How much were the tires?
Our tires were popped, too.
I'm not asking you a question.
I have the invoice here.
Can I see it, please?
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes.
May I submit my receipt for towing?
Absolutely. I'd like to see it, please. So between the towing and the tires, you have $394. Is that right?
Roughly, yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $394. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you. You're lucky your probation wasn't violated.
He chose to act as a coward and slash my mom's tires.
A variety of his friends could have done it.
In the future, if he wants to get me back, he can give me back to my face.
We were not really friends anymore, kind of falling out.
How this all came about?
I do. We're going to find out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Bell.
Yes.
How old are you?
22.
You work?
Yes.
For whom?
My father.
Doing what?
I'm a receptionist of his company. I've been working there for about 5 years.
Is it a successful company?
Yes.
How many children?
I have one brother and one sister.
Is your sister younger or older?
She's older. She's 32.
So you're the baby daughter?
Yes.
Pretty one.
Thank you.
According to what I read, you used to be involved romantically with him.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's going to sit up and uncross his arms.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was a friend of this one.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So you became a friend of this one.
Well, I was friends with him before Jesse and I actually got into a relationship.
And I gather that your father must have been thrilled with your choice of boyfriends.
Absolutely not.
Now, I could tell that before I even sat down, because these two charmers ended up in jail.
Correct.
For whatever. We'll figure it out. And it is your claim that you loaned Mr. Carper money to pay off his criminal fines.
Correct.
Mr. Carper says that you did pay off his criminal fines, and you did so as a gift because you were a friend of his. He says you were more than a friend of his, that you had a romantic relationship.
We were never boyfriend and girlfriend.
Listen, he didn't say boyfriend and girlfriend, he just says you were intimate with both of them.
No.
And all I can say is yuck. Can you imagine a father who has a company that has enough money to employ a receptionist? And this is the boyfriend and this is the friend that she goes to visit both of them in jail? How many times did you go to visit them in jail?
I never visited them in jail.
Oh, good. At least, thank God for that. What were you in jail for, Mr. Carper?
Personal reasons, ma'am.
Personal reasons is not a criminal offense. Quiet!
I made stupid decisions, Your Honor.
Mr. Carper, when I ask a question, I expect an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
What were you in jail for?
Possession.
Possession of?
Schedule II substance.
What kind of substance?
Pills.
Was it the first time you were arrested?
No, ma'am.
And the last time you were arrested was when, sir?
Before I got incarcerated.
When were you incarcerated?
It's March of 2002.
And how long were you in prison?
30 months.
What prison?
Coffeewood and Camp 7.
Are you still on parole status?
Yes, ma'am.
Until when?
It's indefinite.
You're on indefinite parole?
Yes, ma'am.
Fabulous. Now, your friend, what's his name?
Jesse Goff.
Jesse. How long have you and Jesse been friends?
Since I was 5 years old, ma'am.
And what was he in prison for?
Assault.
Assault?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had Jesse and Miss Bell been friends?
They had known each other for a long time. I never met her. She said I knew her before they started dating. I never met this girl until I came home. I didn't know who she was. So that's a lie right there.
How long did you think they were involved? When he was in prison with you, right?
We were in the county jail together.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
When were you in the county jail together?
2003.
Did he know her then? Were they involved then?
I take it. No, they weren't involved.
No. We were
When
not.
did you first hook up with Jesse?
I started talking to Jesse actually back in high school, about 9th grade.
When did you start to see him romantically?
I want to say July.
And he's just out of jail?
Yes.
You're his mother?
I am.
Sometimes you bake a souffle and it falls. Happens. Tell me about the loan.
I loaned him $4,589 on September 29th to pay off his charges, which I have receipts of.
Well, tell me how it came about that you laid out that money.
Well, I saw him apply after job after job after job, and he kept getting turned down because he didn't have his license. And
what do you mean you saw him?
Well, I would take him and Mr. Goff to apply at jobs. And
why would you do that?
I was trying to help them out by taking them to fill out job applications so they could get a job, and I didn't want them to get locked back up. And I asked Mr. Carper if I were to pay off his fines, he could get his license and get him. And Jesse were willing to be my roommates because I'm going through separation. So
Separation from?
My husband.
You have any children?
I have a 3-year-old daughter.
So you wanted to take your 3-year-old daughter and be their roommate?
Yes.
Who do you live with now?
Now I live with my parents. I'm currently trying to sell.
Stay there, because your judgment is impaired, big time.
Recently it has been, I do agree.
If you are a 22-year-old woman and your judgment is impaired and all you're doing is hurting yourself, that's one thing. But to take your 3-year-old child on purpose move in out of your parents' home into an apartment with 2 convicted felons who were on parole, one for drugs, and I'm not so sure about him now, is the kind of lapsed judgment that your parents aren't going to tolerate.
It's actually a house that I own, and my husband, my ex, moved out, and I could not afford the mortgage, and I actually lived there, and it was either I find some roommates or I try
I
to
don't
sell
care
the
if
home.
you have to live in a shelter. You don't take a 3-year-old child and put a 3-year-old child in a circumstance where you have 2 convicted felons, one of whom was there for pills.
I agree.
Got it?
It was also cocaine.
So you paid off his fines?
Yes.
And how was he supposed to pay you back?
He was going to pay me monthly because I actually charged it on a credit card, and he agreed to pay me monthly. At first, a little bit over the minimum payment, and then, you know, he was going to pay me a lot more.
What were the fines for? Can I see the piece of paper that you have? You think that's a real diamond in his ear?
It definitely is.
I doubt it.
Is that a real diamond in your ear?
Of course, ma'am. I don't wear fake things.
What?
I said I don't wear fake things. Just
Could I see it, please?
You
Yeah,
said
take it out.
Wow.
Thank you. Felony fee, fines, $1,000. Felony fee, $350. Jail admission fee, $25. And court-appointed attorney, $437. Love it. Commonwealth of Virginia. Good for Virginia. And what would happen to you, Mr. Carper, if you didn't pay these fines?
They would probably violate my parole.
And then what would happen to you?
Then I would not see the light of day forever.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Payment of the fine is what?
Punishment.
Right. And if you let somebody else pay your fines, you're allowing somebody else to do your...
Punishment, man.
Is he a quick learner or what?
Squirt.
And later today,
This guy is no good. No bog.
Real People, Judge Judy. Chastity Bell claims her ex-boyfriend's friend, Anthony Carper, owes for a loan to pay court fines.
What do you think fines are for, sir?
To be paid, ma'am.
Because they're part of your what?
Probation.
Part of your what? Punishment.
Yes, ma'am.
And if somebody else pays your fine, then you have no...
Punishment.
Right. Why do you think a court would allow that to happen?
Because it's the law, ma'am.
What's the law? Why do you think a court would allow somebody else to do your punishment? Let me ask you this, sir. We've already established that payment of the fine is what?
Punishment.
Right. And you're going to jail was a form of...
Punishment, ma'am.
Now, you couldn't say to somebody else, listen, I want you to do me a favor. I don't feel like going to jail. I'm going to go out and sell a whole bunch of pills, so I'm going to have a couple of bucks, you know. I'm going to give you $10,000 to do my 30 months. You think that the state would permit that to happen?
No, ma'am.
What would the person say to you now? I don't mind going to jail. I have nothing else to do. I could really use the $10,000. I'll go to jail for you for the 30 months. You think the state would permit that?
No, ma'am.
Because then you wouldn't be doing your own
punishment.
And if you let somebody else pay your fines, you're allowing somebody else to do your
punishment, ma'am.
Is he a quick learner or what? So the first thing you have to do in order to do your punishment is sell your diamonds. That's what the first thing that people do is sell their diamonds, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then they pay the rest of their debt, $4,500. Maybe you can get $89 for this taupe diamond. When did you give him up as a boyfriend?
We weren't really actually together because he's not capable of just having one girlfriend. We were supposedly together for probably about maybe a month.
You are an articulate, nice-looking girl who clearly has very low self-esteem. Because if you didn't have low self-esteem, you wouldn't have been involved with either one of them.
Correct.
You have parents who have a business, you have a child, you've made some bad judgments, but you're only 22 years old. You have the capacity to change. You have anything you want to add to what I've already said?
I do.
I mean, I'm just dying to hear why you would come be her witness if your son is sitting over there.
Because what's wrong is wrong, and you're absolutely right. He's skating his punishment.
You have anything new to add?
I think it's a fine how you do to thank somebody for doing all that she did for you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. By the way, did she also pay your son's fines?
Yes, she did.
Did he pay her back?
No, we actually go to court for that on March 7th in Prince William County.
Should we just hang out here?
Just a second. Just a second. So why don't you do this? You're his mother, right?
I am.
You made him. You raised him. Why don't you pay his fines?
Because he's 24 years old and I'm not responsible for him anymore.
Right, yeah, I know, but you're more responsible than a stranger. Maybe you should just
I would not have paid his fines in the first place.
You would let him go back to jail?
I would.
You're absolutely right. Sit down. In any event, she paid $4,589 in order to keep you free. I'm entering a judgment for $4,500 and it's diamond. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It is what it is, man. She was messing with him. Me and her had a little thing going on.
I made a mistake by trying to help both of them out, and it blew up in my face.
If me and her would have stayed talking, this would have never came about.
Doesn't matter if he's seeing her or not. The money is still owed.
Money is nothing to me. I'll take care of it.
Picking up the phone.
You were sort of helping him out at a time that he needed to be helped out financially. He's counterclaiming because he says that in a fit of rage, you damaged his car, his clothes, and he also believes that you harassed him. That's his counterclaim. So tell me when you met him.
I met him in August of last year.
And when did you lend him the money?
Of last year.
Tell me about it.
John had lost his job and he couldn't pay his rent.
When did he lose the job?
November.
What kind of job did you have, Mr. Bambino?
Car salesman, ma'am.
How long did you have that job with that company?
7 months.
Before that, where did you work?
As a correction officer for the state of New Jersey.
How long were you working there?
15 years.
Go ahead.
In December, I was coming into some money through a lawsuit, and I had extra money, and, you know, he asked me to lend him his rent money for the month of December, and that's what it was. I lent him the money.
How much was it?
It was $1,200.
$1,200 for rent. Go ahead.
And one bill is $452.07.
What was that for?
A home entertainment system.
Who bought a home entertainment
system? That
system?
I bought for him, that he was supposed to pay me back for.
No. Miss Smoot, listen to me carefully. If somebody doesn't have money to pay his own rent, then you don't buy him a home entertainment center and expect him to pay you back. You're not a baby, right?
Right, Your Honor.
What else?
Cable bill, $100. I have a check that he wrote, that I gave him a blank check to take to the doctors that has his name in the memo for $80.
Did she give you a blank check to pay a doctor?
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
A gas bill for $100 in December.
$100 even?
Well, it was, his gas bill is way more than that, but I only paid $100 on it.
Go ahead.
2 checks for food, one for $87.40 and one for $42.71.
Made out to whom?
To Acme.
Did you use those 2 checks?
No, I wrote them.
He doesn't know you for that.
Okay.
What else?
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Bambino. Ball is in your court, sir. Where are you working now?
Chevrolet 73.
So you're back to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So Ms. Smoot says that you said, if you pay my rent, as soon as I get a job, I'll pay you back. You say that's not true. Tell me what happened, Mr. Bambino. By the way, how old are you, sir?
43.
Have you been married?
Yes, ma'am.
You have children?
I have 2 daughters.
How old are they?
17 and 24.
When did you last live with them?
I have custody of my younger. Actually, I've had custody of both since my divorce in '98. I have custody of my youngest now.
So how are you supporting the children?
My mother helps me out, but I mean, I just ran into a tough time between, like, let's say the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I started my new job January 5th.
Right.
So it was approximately 6 weeks.
So what you're telling me is your mother helps you out.
She helped me out in that particular time frame, yes, in the beginning of January.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I met Tina, as she said, in the middle of August. We started the date.
Would you try looking at me rather than keeping your eyes closed? It's disrespectful.
I'm sorry. I met her in the middle of August at a club over in Philadelphia. Approximately 2 weeks later, she accused me of staring at a woman on the track. She told me to get in her Jeep. She started to give me a ride, which was the ride from hell. She just started driving down the interstate, doing approximately 70, 75 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic.
But after that, you took money from her.
No. Well, ma'am, it's...
Listen to me. After that, you took money from her, so I'm not interested in a ride
I didn't
from
take
hell.
money.
If some... Yes, you did.
She gave me the money, ma'am.
That's not what I said. I said you took money from her.
Yes.
After the ride from hell, which would have put me in a different county from somebody like that, you took money from her.
Yes.
Right. Did you think that the story you were going to tell me was going to make you a sympathetic character?
Not at all.
Good. Let's get to the money. Come on.
Oh, well, after several pretty bizarre things that Tina pulled between September and December, I tried cutting off the relationship several times. Tina's texts me 15, 20 times a day, calls me, begs me to let her back into our relationship, start our relationship over.
Is this your child?
No, ma'am. She's a witness in this factor. Tina, I let back in approximately times between September 1st all the way up to the February 11th. She just constantly says I'm cheating on her.
You want to know something? You want to tell the sad story? Go on Dr. Phil. Right. I want to know about the money.
The money. Tina would manipulate things and try to get me to let her back in. And after 3 or 4 weeks of constant texting me every day and please begging me to let her come back and start the relationship over, I did it several times. Tina...
Bambino, listen to me carefully. Get to the money.
I am.
In December, she may be desperate and she may find something about you attractive. Mr. Bambino, I do not.
I know that.
You are 43 years old. You look every day of it.
I know.
And then some. And Mr. Bambino, and then some. I have children who are 43 years old, sir. That's not you. That's the first thing. Second thing is, let's get to the money in December. Excuse me, you date him? No. Perfect. Get to the money.
All right, I let Tina come back over in early December. She laid $1,200 on my couch and said, pay your bills with this. I don't care when you give it back to me, just pay your bills. She insisted. I did pay. I paid my rent with it, of course. The other things, utilities, she paid $100 for the heating bill.
Mr. Bambino, how do you think Miss Smoot knew that you didn't pay your utility bills and that you didn't pay your rent? How do you think?
By communicating with
By you telling her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that kind of casual conversation that inspired her to leave the $1,200 on the table for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah. And it was at that time that you were concerned about her bizarre behavior that she exhibited 6 or 7 times?
Over that 6-month frame, yes.
Now, you were a corrections officer for 15 years, sir. You knew that there were certain prisoners that were dangerous,
sure.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were dealing with a dangerous prisoner, there were certain protocols. You made sure that you didn't put yourself in harm's way. That was your training, right?
Absolutely.
So here you're dealing with a lunatic, somebody who over the course of 6 or 7 months is doing crazy, bizarre things. So instead of cutting it off, you know where the courthouse is. So if you know if somebody is stalking you, somebody is annoying you, you go to the courthouse and you say, this person is stalking me, annoying me, I need a protective order. Instead, you had somebody stalking you, you took their money. No. You took their money. I didn't say loan, I didn't say gift, I said you took their money. Well, you did. You just told me that, Mr. Bambino. You told me she was stalking you, harassing you, doing all kinds of bizarre things, and she put $1,200 down on the table, and she paid your bills, and you took it. That's what you just told me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to be a nice man, Mr. Bambino.
Cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tina Smoot claims ex-boyfriend John Bambino owes for a loan to help with his living expenses. John is countersuing for harassment and claims Tina intentionally damaged his property.
Okay. Now, it is your claim, Mr. Bambino, your counterclaim, that the plaintiff damaged your property, harassed you, and damaged your clothing. You want to tell me when that happened and where?
First week in November, Tina was going to North Carolina for a wedding.
And when did she give you the money, sir?
December.
On a sympathy scale, sir, of 1 to 10, this is about going to be a -5, because what you're going to tell me is that she, again, acted like a nut, but you took money from her the next month, right?
Yes.
Keep going.
She told me she would let me borrow her Jeep. I dropped off my friend's automobile that I was using at the time, which was a female friend of mine for 18 years. Tina, in the process, went in the glove box and found out who the car belonged to. She took a pen and ripped the whole roof of the inside of the car, ripped the leather on the seats, took a soda and threw it all over my clothes in the back. That's the incident in November.
Why did you do that, Tina?
I didn't go to that extreme.
What did you... Tina.
What happened?
Why did you do it?
I didn't do that, Your Honor.
Yes, you did. You did some of it.
I called him and told him to bring my Jeep.
What did you do to the stuff in the car?
I poured soda on his clothes, that was all.
You poured soda on his clothes. Is there a police report with regard to the damage to this friend's car?
No, ma'am, but I have pictures.
It's not your car.
It's not my car.
Did you fix the car?
Not yet.
Then you're not the person who can file this claim against Miss Smoot. That would be the car owner.
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as throwing soda on your clothes?
So what?
You owe her $1,480. You have to be a nice man, Mr. Bambino.
I'm a very nice man.
No, you're not. If she's a nut, you're not supposed to take advantage of people who are not balanced. If you actually believe that Miss Smoot is not balanced, then what you're supposed to do is not be a cad and take advantage of her financially. You're supposed to say, I don't want your money. I don't want it as a gift. I don't want it as a loan. I don't want you in my life. I don't want that at all because I don't think you're balanced. I think that you should take this money and use it well by going to see a doctor who will maybe give you some medication to help you feel better. Instead, what you did is you took advantage of her because you're not a nice person. Nice people don't take advantage of sick people. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,480. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was all a big joke. To him, anyhow.
That's totally not the case. It's totally not the case.
She thinks that something's going on between us. We're just co-workers. She's a little insane. She needs some medicine.
That's what she thinks.
I feel bad because she's not a bad person. She's got 2 beautiful daughters.
First of all, I don't have 2 daughters. I have a daughter and a son.
I'm not going to date women ever again.
I will never let anybody take advantage of me again.
I'm going to do a background check in
September
of
06.
According to your complaint, you believe that your son owes you for a car that you gave to him, titled in his name, but with a condition. And the condition was the car would be returned to you if and when he joined the Navy.
He told me he was already signed up for the Navy in January.
Right. So that was the condition that you indicated.
To get him off of a motorcycle that he was riding rather recklessly.
Right. And you said to him, here's a car, putting it in your name. When you go into the Navy, I want you to give it back.
Right.
Did you ever go into the Navy?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson, I read your whole complaint, and your whole complaint has sort of a convoluted story about certain trust that you had in your son to do the right thing. He took the car, he sold it to somebody else, then he took it back, then he sold it to another person. Bottom line is, I read your complaint very carefully, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And your complaint is clear. What you said in your complaint, which was you gave him this car, you transferred the title to him, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
He insured the car himself, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you pay for the insurance yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how long did you drive the car?
Only for a couple months, Your Honor.
Then you sold it and bought something else.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson, stop playing with your papers.
Okay.
Because you're not going to understand what I'm saying to you
Yes.
unless you pay attention.
Gotcha.
If I believe what you say in your complaint, you made him a conditional gift.
Mm-hmm.
And the condition of that gift was that the car would be returned to you when he entered the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
But he has not entered the Navy.
Okay.
So how can you get the car back? Or the value of the car?
Okay.
Do you understand? I know that you're angry with him. I don't know exactly why. Maybe we can resolve that. But the conditional gift that you made to him it becomes a permanent gift if he never joins the Navy. Is it your intention to join the Navy?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I decided to keep pursuing my medical field that I am now.
And not join the Navy? Okay. Ever. When did you give him the car, Mr. Nelson, just for my own information?
September 27, 06.
And you titled it in that same month. And when did you sell the car, sir?
Down in October, around.
Who'd you sell it to?
I didn't personally meet them. My stepfather actually had it in Desert Hot Springs, and he sold it for me.
To whom did you sell it?
To a private party out of Banning.
Stand up. How much did you sell it for?
Your Honor, Christopher owed me some money, so he had gotten another vehicle. So in lieu of the money that he owed me,
What did he owe you money for?
Personal loans.
Explain it to me.
Just everyday living, helping him with insurance, paying for some of his tuitions through furthering his education in the EMS field, things of that nature.
How much did he owe you?
About $4,500. Educations are expensive.
How long have you been married to his mother?
Since July of 06.
You were divorced in September of 06. So how could you be married in July of 06?
It was a typo on the court's behalf, and we're since straightening that out in litigation.
What do you mean you're straightening that out? What does that mean?
Well, what it means is there was a typo that instead of putting a 9 when the divorce would have been finalized, it would look like a 7. So we went forward with the wedding. Come to find out later that it was a typo, so we're in litigation now at the courts to rectify that.
Why don't you just get married again?
We will, sir. Ma'am, when we're done with this. Pardon me.
May I interrupt?
Just a second. So let's assume he owed you $4,500 in the relatively short time that you've been together with his mother. How much did you sell the car for?
That exact amount.
To whom?
I don't know the name of the person. It was I took the car to my place of employment, placed a for sale sign in it, and 5 hours later sold the car. I don't know the name of the people. I really didn't expect this.
A man or a woman?
It was a man for his daughter.
Did you get a check or cash?
I received cash.
Do you know that I don't believe a word that's coming out of your mouth?
I'm sorry.
Do you know
I'm sorry.
that I don't really believe a word that's coming out of your mouth? Do you trust him?
I know it was true.
Well, let me tell you something. Most of what he just told me was not true.
I beg to differ, Your Honor.
Oh,
under this day that
you can do all you like, sir, but I understand.
I just swore between God and this court to tell the truth.
Quiet. I understand why Mr. Nelson is annoyed. The truth of the matter is, he made a conditional gift, and it didn't work out the way he had assumed it was work out. He certainly wasn't giving his son a car to give to you, to give you money. And so I can understand why he's annoyed. I understand why you're annoyed, sir.
Get a chance, I'd like to explain.
Go ahead.
First, the car was stolen from her. She has a judgment on it.
A judgment? What do you mean it was stolen from you?
He sold the car to her, not to him.
Who sold the car to her?
Christopher sold the car to her.
Which is Christopher?
Christopher.
You sold the car to this lady?
For $7,500.
I'm speaking.
No, Your Honor.
You did not.
No, Your Honor.
There's the judgment.
I'd like to explain.
Go ahead.
When I received the car, I heard from a friend that I believe Kelly was looking for a car around $5,000, $7,500 or so. And so me and her were talking and everything, but she only had about $2,500 to give me. I knew she was going through some hard time, so we made a verbal agreement that she was to have possession of the car and I was to retain ownership until final payment. After a couple of weeks, I kept getting the same response that...
How much money did she give you?
She gave me $2,500 as a down payment. And then I was still waiting on $5,000 when she went down to her security lockbox at quote-unquote Pachanga. Well, after many weeks of trying to talk to her and give me the same excuse, it wasn't until after I talked to a lawyer and a detective from the Murrieta Police Department about the legal part of it that I was in full right to go and repossess my vehicle.
What'd you do with the $2,500?
She took me to court.
And what happened with it?
I even told her that I would give her the back.
What happened with it?
I was unable to attend.
What do you mean you were unable to attend?
I had a class that I was already enrolled in to further my...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You sold it to somebody for $7,500. He sold it to somebody for $5,700. Don't you think your father could have sold it to somebody else for $5,000?
And later today...
I told him you get some parenting classes, you do some counseling,
that
and you
has
can
nothing
come
to
back
do
in.
with the lease.
Yes, it does. It has everything to do with
Miss Lawler, it has nothing to do with the lease, madam.
Judge Judy. Dennis Nelson claims his adopted son, Christopher Nelson, illegally sold a Corvette he was allowing him to borrow.
Go ahead.
I have a witness in the back.
You didn't know you could appeal.
For what?
Christopher.
I will testify
To what?
to whatever you want to hear.
Well, I
He'll
don't want to testify to whatever
he
I
will
want to hear.
testify to the fact that he did steal the car. He was paid in
Just
full.
a second. Just a second. You have a judgment against him for $7,500?
She has the judgment.
You have a judgment against him, so there's no question.
Here's the other car.
A court has already ruled on that.
On that one.
On this one.
But the other witness will testify that he did take the car.
No, I got it. He said he repossessed the car, and he couldn't go to the hearing, to the court date, because he had a class.
Okay.
And then he took the car back, and he gave it to his stepfather, who sold it, according to him, for
Here's the bill of sales on
$4,500.
there.
Can I see the bill of sale?
The ones that he can't find.
Your last name is Mater?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have a bill of sale, sir, with your signature on it, indicating that you sold this car to Joanna for $5,700.
I don't recall it being 57.
Well, why don't you take a look at this, sir?
Okay.
I don't remember it being that much either.
Obviously, this is a second-generated bill to sell with the price altered. I'm not a liar. I am a man of integrity. Have fun.
Listen, I don't have to get into all of this. You can sit down. I can understand why your father is angry with you. He made a gift to you. He was hoping that you would be able to use that gift and drive safely with that gift. And he didn't do it to line the pockets of anybody else, including taking care of the bills that you allegedly owed to your stepfather. He was trying to help you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, is there any reason why you did that?
What, Your Honor?
Took a wonderful gesture and made it not wonderful anymore.
It wasn't a wonderful gesture, Your Honor.
No, it wasn't?
No, Your Honor.
Well, let me ask you this question, sir. Do you think that your father could have sold that car to somebody else? Put your hand down. Well, you sold it to somebody for $7,500. He sold it to somebody for $5,700. Don't you think your father could have sold it to somebody else for $5,000?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's an answer. Instead, he gave it to you. Write it off. Mr. Nelson, legally I can't help you because the condition was that you get it back.
Is what it is.
You get it back if he joined the Navy. Didn't join the Navy. He's not going to join the Navy. Unfortunate. Sometimes your best intentions are not necessarily.
His words were he signed up for the Navy in January.
I understand that.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Good
The
enough.
case is
Thank you.
dismissed. That's all. You owe him an apology.
That'll never happen.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It is what it is. Liars, cheats, and thieves. The whole family.
He can't handle the fact that he has no control.
The captain of the fire department is less than honest.
The judge tried to attack my character, which was wrong. I was truthful as much as I could remember.
He's using his position to get personal vendettas.
He's jealous that I am married to his wife and basically have taken his prized possession.
Contract. It was an oral contract, and that contract provided that you would give them 30 days notice of your intention to leave, and they would give you 30 days notice of their intention to terminate your services. They came on some sort of a vacation, and you claimed that Miss Adams unceremoniously fired you without giving you the requisite 30-day notice. Correct. In addition, you claimed that they owe you the plane ticket, because if you had not been terminated so abruptly, you would have had a plane ticket to come home from vacation. So that's your case. Ms. Adams says that there was certainly a contract, an oral contract, that provided that you would give them 30-day notice of your intention to leave, but there was no commensurate 30-day provision with regard to them, that they could fire you at will at any time. That's your defense.
Correct.
When did you begin your employment with the Adams family?
I started working for them February 14th of 2005.
How did you find Miss Burak, Miss Adams?
Through a nanny agency.
What was the name of the agency?
I actually don't recall the agency.
It was Elite Domestic Agency.
Could you keep your voice up, please? Hear my voice? Ah! Keep your voice
Elite
up so I can
Domestic
hear you.
Agency.
What?
Elite Domestic Agency.
February 14th, 2005. And you worked until when, Miss Burak?
Last day I worked was August 11th of 2006. Total of 18 months.
Miss Adams, you have a little boy or a little girl?
Little boy.
How old is he?
He's 2.5 years old.
So he was a little less than a year old.
He was
when Miss Burak came.
Correct.
And she took good care of him?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
My husband and I own a design firm at the Pacific Design Center.
So you really relied on her to be the sole custodian of your son while you were at work?
Absolutely.
And this is your only child?
Yes.
Tell me why you fired her.
There were many incidents that led up to the termination. It was definitely a culmination of incidents. The last incident was Danielle going on vacation.
When did she go on vacation?
She went on vacation. The dates changed. So at first she wanted to take off August 11th, 14th, and 15th. On the day of the 10th, she requested to take off the 14th, 15th, and 16th. And that was a pattern with her. She was very notorious for always leaving and not coming back the day she was supposed to come back. So that was not surprising to me that she requested those 3 days. I had to reschedule my meetings, and I said that was fine. The day she was leaving, I said, please, please come back on the 17th. I need you back to work.
Now, the 17th was what day of the week?
Thursday. I said, I have meetings at work. I really need you to be back. And she hugged me and she said, I will be back. In my mind, I thought, I'm sure something is going to come up, whether it's the plane, was delayed, there was something happened, something was going to come up. And indeed, on Tuesday, I got an email saying that she wanted to take Thursday and Friday off and that she would be back to work on Monday. I sent an email saying, and I spoke to my husband and I said, I cannot believe this, but at the same time I could. And I said, I really need you back to work on Thursday. Please come back to work. And she basically then sent me an email saying that she had another person that could come in and fill in for her.
Who did she have to fill in for her?
A friend.
A friend
who is
whose
also a
name is?
nanny.
I
believe her name is Simone.
Had you ever met her?
I met her once, so I was not comfortable with...
Do you know who she works for?
I do not know the mother, so I really don't know anything about her.
Okay.
And so she said that she wanted to have her fill in. And I said, no, that's not going to work for me. I don't know who she is. I don't feel comfortable having her watch my son without me there at the house. And she sent me an email saying she's very trustworthy and she's my friend. And I said, this is not personal. I don't know who she is. No. And I basically said, again, I needed you back to work on Thursday. So when that avenue closed, she then said, oh, by the way, I didn't get my paycheck on Friday, the Friday prior. And the reason she couldn't come to work was because she didn't have a plane ticket to come back to work. So, just everything going up in the air now. What was the lie? Was the lie that there was an annual event in Santa Fe that prevented her to coming back to work?
I'll find out in a minute.
Okay.
There was no lie.
Just to say, I'll find out in a minute.
Sure.
She wanted the extra 2 days because the extra 2 days was a weekend. Where was the boyfriend?
The fiance was in New Mexico.
With you?
Correct. And
Is
his
that where he
daughter.
lives?
No, he was out in New Mexico for work with his daughter.
Did you travel out there together with him?
No. They drove together separate earlier, and I flew on my own.
Okay. When were they coming back?
They were coming back on the following Monday.
So you were going to be flying home alone, according to you, on Sunday.
Well, I was going to fly back Wednesday night to be back to work for Thursday and Friday.
Yes.
And I didn't receive my paycheck for my last 2 weeks of pay, and I kept asking Lisa why I wasn't getting the paycheck, and she wasn't addressing it. And I didn't have the funds in my account to purchase a ticket back to work.
How did you purchase the ticket, Miss Burek, to go out there?
I had money in my account.
Well, I want to know how exactly you did that. Did you pay for that ticket in cash? Did you pay for that ticket with a credit card? How did you pay for that ticket? I'm sure you can document it for me.
I paid for my ticket online.
Online with what?
With my debit card.
You have a record of that?
I don't. I have a record of flying back, but I don't have a record of that, no.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
You know, Miss Burek, when you lie about one thing, your entire testimony becomes suspect, madam. The reason I asked to see this is because I didn't believe that the reason you didn't buy a return ticket was because you didn't have money in your account. And I didn't believe you when you said to me that I paid for it with a debit card because you're trying to think too hard. Now, it doesn't make sense for you to pay for one ticket going one way with a debit card and the other way with your MasterCard, which is how you paid for this ticket. So it didn't make any difference whether you had the paycheck in your account or not. You could have purchased a round-trip ticket at the same time you purchased a ticket going, you could have purchased it coming back. Because you didn't use a debit card, you used MasterCard.
Well, the reason why I didn't book the flight back was because I didn't have enough money in my account on
You told me
Thursday
that
night.
before. I didn't believe it when you told me for the first time. And now that you hand this thing to me, it clearly says that this ticket was purchased with a MasterCard, which doesn't require that you have the money in the bank at the time of the purchase. You just have to pay it when you get the bill. You follow me?
I follow you.
Good. So that's not why you didn't buy your ticket, because you didn't have money in the bank. So the story that you just told me about not buying the ticket on Wednesday is really not true.
Well, it is true.
No, it isn't. Then explain to me why it was purchased on MasterCard.
Because my fiancé offered to pay for my ticket.
He should have offered to pay for your ticket on Wednesday when you were due home.
Well, I didn't feel comfortable asking him.
I understand why you fired her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That requires a yes or a no answer.
They didn't pay me, yes. I would equally say.
That's not my question, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe
this is my ballpark. Okay, my playground.
And later today,
If she felt that she needed the money before, she should have called the travel agent herself.
She could have done this and she would have done that, and if she did this, she wouldn't have been in that. She had an agreement with you.
Judge Judy.
Nanny Danielle Burak claims former employer Lisa Adams terminated her without cause. Lisa says Danielle was unreliable.
Now you want me to believe that you had a contract with Miss Adams. Part of the contract was that if she was going to terminate you without cause, she would give you 30 days notice. Because, Miss Burak, you cannot expect someone who has entrusted their most precious possession, their child, with you, if you do something that's wrong to the child, let's say she finds you hitting the child, you think she's required to give you 30 days notice and pay you?
No, but that never happened.
No, the answer is no. You think that if she catches you doing drugs in the house, she's got to give you 30 days notice and pay you? The answer would be, of course, no, right? Well, what Miss Adams is saying is she found you to be dishonest, that you were giving her dishonest answers for what your intentions were when you went on this vacation, that you had an intention to follow a course of conduct which was coming back late and being irresponsible. So while it's true that you didn't, as far as she knows, abuse her child or neglect her child, it is a short leap from being dishonest with regard to one thing to another. And what she's saying is she fired you for cause. And the cause was you were due back on Wednesday, and you didn't come back on Wednesday. We're going to come back the following Monday. That's unsatisfactory. You have a responsibility. Is this your fiancé?
Yes.
What kind of work does he do?
He's an artist. He's a photographer and a writer and a producer.
Does he have any full-time gainful employment?
Yes.
At what?
He's an actor.
Well, does he act in something regularly?
Yes.
What?
A show on ABC.
What show on ABC?
Wildfire.
He has a recurring role? I'm sorry, I haven't seen it.
Yes, he does.
Step up. Your last name is?
Haynes, Your Honor.
Mr. Haynes.
Yes, sir.
How often do you film Wildfire?
About once every 2 to 3 weeks.
And
they're building the roll-up.
how many days a week do you film, sir?
It can be anywhere from 3 to 5.
Sounds wonderful to me, sir.
Yes.
Did you ever call your producer and say to your producer, I'm in Santa Fe. I can't make it on Friday. I just answer my question. I'm in Santa Fe. I can't make it on Friday.
Well, Your Honor,
No. I'm just asking you a question, sir, that requires a yes or a no answer.
If they didn't pay me, yes, I would equally say.
That's not my question, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe
this is my ballpark.
Yes, it is.
Okay, my playground. Did you ever call your producer and say to your producer, I can't get to Santa Fe on Friday. I'll come on Monday. Or have you always shown up when you're supposed to, on time?
I always show up when I'm supposed to.
Thank you. You can sit down now. You ought to teach your fiancé the same thing. You were fired, Miss Burak, for cause. The cause was responsibly. And if she fired you for cause, even if she had an agreement to give you notice without cause, for cause, she doesn't have to give you any notice, because that would be ridiculous. If you were abusing her child, she wasn't going to give you 30 days notice. If you were neglecting her child, she wasn't going to give you 30 days notice. And she found out that you were irresponsible. And this wasn't evidently a one-shot deal. This had happened before. Something that happens with nannies, by the way, because Miss Burak doesn't want to spend the next 30 years being a nanny. What I'm trying to tell you is Miss Burak is trying to find her way and figure out what she wants to do with her life. Right? I know very, very few people who want to be Mrs. Doubtfire, that's their role in life. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if she blows you off for a day or two, most nannies feel as if they've got you right here because they're in charge of your children. You have no case, Miss Burak. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
While we do feel like Danielle did a good job with her child,
Well, I was very attached and very close to Kai.
it was really a culmination of things of dishonesty and deceit.
Well, I wasn't dishonest.
There were numerous incidents.
I really didn't have the funds to come back to work.
You know, the most important thing is my son, Kai.
I just hope that...
is suing ex-wife, 37-year-old office clerk Joanne Green, for a car and half a Sears bill she ran up while he was in the Persian Gulf.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 979 on the calendar in the matter of Green versus Green. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Green, you and the defendant are divorced. How long were you married?
13 years, Your Honor.
How long have you been divorced?
A year now.
When was the divorce finalized?
1 December 97.
According to your complaint, sir, you say that your wife should be responsible for half of a Sears bill.
Yes, ma'am.
And that also she has in her possession a car that was supposed to be yours pursuant to the judgment of divorce.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And you want that returned to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's deal with the easy things first. Let's see the judgment of divorce as it relates to the car. Okay. Now, Mr. Green, this is clear that this judgment of divorce provides that you receive a 1990 Ford Probe.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you receive that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that your former husband receives the 1990 Toyota Camry.
Yes, ma'am.
Which I assume you have.
Yes.
Well, this says he's supposed to get it.
The Ford Probe, excuse me, broke down.
When?
It was September of 97.
Okay. So what happened?
Bernard was still overseas, and I had the Ford and the Camry. Bernard said, I called him and told him that the Ford broke down. He told me just go on and continue driving the Camry until he get back from overseas.
So?
When Bernard came home on mid-tour, he said that he was not going to get the car fixed and for me to just keep the Camry.
And this was before the divorce was finalized or after?
After the divorce.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I told her she could keep my car until I get back, until she can have some money and get the probe fixed.
That's not what you said.
Shh, shh, shh. Don't talk to him. Talk to me. Where is the probe right now?
The engine is locked in it, so it's parked in our driveway.
So you have it?
Yes.
Yes, she do.
Hmm?
She does have it.
Mm-hmm. Did you make a gift of her, sir, of the Toyota Camry?
A gift?
A gift.
No, ma'am.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Bernard, what did you say when you got back in April?
Miss Green, Miss Green, you're not listening. Talk to me, not to him.
When he returned in April, the car was still broken down. He said, don't worry about getting it fixed because he had purchased a Jeep and for me to keep the Camry. And he said that, no, you did not say that until I get it fixed. The problem is...
Will you talk to me? Don't talk to him. Talk to me.
Bernard has called my home on several occasions. My witness can even verify that, where he's talked to me and said that I could keep the Camry. The reason why we're going through all this now is because his wife is upset. That's what the problem is.
His wife is upset.
That is the problem. She don't want me to have the Camry or anything else. That's all it is. I stand out. It's our house.
Listen to me. Don't. If you talk to each other, I'm going to show you both the door.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not what this is about. This is a court. In an orderly fashion, you talk to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who are you?
My name's Dwayne Baker.
Who are you?
Joanne's fiance.
Uh-huh. Step over here. Step over. You have a car?
Yes, I do.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a 95 Nissan Sentra.
Who are you?
I'm his wife.
Then I want you to sit there and be quiet, otherwise I'll put you out. So let me understand this. You have 3 cars in your family now. You live together, right?
No, we do not.
Well, I assume if you're going to get married, then you're going to live together. You're the fiancé. So then you'll have 3 cars. Do you work?
Yes, I do work.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a member of the United States Air Force.
Good. Do you work?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Good. So why don't you get the car fixed, this Ford Probe that belongs to you?
Because the engine locked on it, it's going to cost me over $3,000 to get it fixed. Bernard said, don't worry about fixing it, keep the Probe, because he bought a Jeep in October of 97.
I told her to keep the car, Judge, until I got back from Saudi Arabia.
Bernard, that is not what you
All right,
said.
just a second. Listen to me. When did you get back from Saudi Arabia, sir?
April 98, ma'am.
Okay. And did you ask for the car as soon as you got back?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Tell me
No,
about
you
the
didn't.
Tell me about the conversation.
I asked for the car back and then numerous times, And Joanne stated that you're not going to get the car back because she has all the keys to it.
Okay.
Because he gave her the keys, Your Honor, when he told her that she could keep that car.
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did.
Listen
kept
to
all the
me.
keys when I
Listen to
left.
me. Your judgment to divorce is clear. The judgment to divorce provides that he gets the Toyota Camry, you get the Ford Probe. You drove the Ford Probe before the engine locked, and then you needed to drive the Camry. That's what you just testified to, correct?
Yes.
Right?
All of their community property wasn't included. The judge that drew up the decree did not know that Bernard had purchased another vehicle.
Listen
when
to
they
me.
divided the property.
That's you. We were still married when you got that Jeep.
Listen to me, sir. The two of you better listen very carefully. They have a child together. That probably irritates you, right? And you're making your own little trouble over there.
Yes, she is. I'm sorry, ma'am.
And this nudnik is making his own trouble over here.
I'm not a nudnik.
Yes, you are. Sit down. Yes, you sit down.
Nudnik.
Their finances have nothing to do with you. That's the problem when new mates get involved in a situation of a marriage that's over, especially when there are children. Everybody sort of wants to dig into their turf. I find as follows. The judgment to divorce is clear. The judgment to divorce says that you get one car, he gets one car. You drove one car, it died. Don't speak, just listen. Even if he made a contract with you, which I don't really believe, there was no consideration for that contract because he wasn't getting anything from that contract. If he says, I sort of believe that he said, use the car until I get home. I have no use for it till I get home. When I get home, I'll take it back. You have 3 cars now, 2 working cars, 1 non-working car. I assume you have 1 car. Is that right?
She has 2 cars, Your Honor. I don't live with her.
Well, that's unfortunate, sir. I assume that if you get married, that situation is going to change. You did say you were her fiancé, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. Okay, so with regard to the car goes back to him.
But, ma'am,
car goes
if
back
I may,
to him.
Just because
he
didn't want the car.
He did
because
not
he
want the
purchased
car.
while they were
Kadama
married.
is pushing this issue about the car.
Out.
Thank you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want to see what you purchased from December of '97, when you were divorced, to April of '98.
Show on there where you got Kadama's car fixed when we were married. Show that. And yes,
Miss
I did
Green,
buy jewelry,
Miss
ma'am.
Green, if you're not quiet, you're going to lose more than the Toyota.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bernard Green claims ex-wife Joanne Green owes him for a car and half a department store bill she ran up while he was fighting in the Persian Gulf.
Now let's get to the Sears bill. Why do you think, sir, that she is responsible for half the Sears bill?
Because, Your Honor, I trusted her while I was in Saudi Arabia. I was still handling the finance. We were
You
legally
were
separated.
not.
Miss Green, let me see the bills, please.
I took care of all the...
Shh. Say nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
When was the last purchase made on this Sears account?
I think it was April of '98, ma'am. We were divorced, and she still was charging stuff
And why?
on it.
And why?
Shh. Hey, were you still using this Sears charge in April of '98?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because Bernard gave me permission to use that charge card.
For what?
I didn't.
For any purchases that I may need for my daughter, either daughters or anything for the home. Bernard said that.
Tell me what he said.
I paid all our bills while Bernard did his year tour in Saudi Arabia. You did not pay anything.
Listen, sir, I'm going to throw you out.
Yes, ma'am.
If you interrupt.
Yes,
I've already told her she's going if she interrupts.
Sorry.
You have to explain to me why you were divorced in December of '97. After December of '97, when he's under a child support obligation, which he was paying because it probably came right out of his check. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would anybody in their right mind say to you, you have carte blanche to use the Sears card for anything that you want? Why?
Because at that time, even though our divorce was final in December, we were still paying our bills together. His check still came into our joint account, which we still have. No money goes in there on his part, but I was still in charge of everything. I paid all his bills, whatever money he needed, I put into his checking account for him to write a check for. I did that up until April when he returned. When Bernard returned from Saudi Arabia in April, he came to see the girls. And then he came to pick up some other belongings of his. That's when he took his portion of the bills, and I kept mine. Bernard said, I'll take over the Sears bill. Opening up, seeing it, everything. I've never used that card without his permission. He knew every time I use it. That is so true. When you got back in September, what did you do?
Just a second. What did you purchase from December of 1997 until April of 98 on the card? And I can't read this.
I mean, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
Well, tell me, sir.
Jewelry, furniture.
Show me. I want you to make a circle. I want you to circle it. I can't follow that.
The jewelry was bought when?
Are you talking?
No, ma'am.
To him?
No. But can I say this to you, ma'am?
I want to see what you purchased from December of 97, when you were divorced, to April of 98. That's what I want to see.
Here we go.
Purchases made for your daughter, a water heater for the house. Show on there where you got Kadama's car fixed when we were married. Show that. And yes, I did buy jewelry.
Miss Green, if you're not quiet, you're going to lose more than the Toyota. Do you understand?
Well, ma'am, I can understand why
do you understand? I asked for information. That's what I asked for, Miss Green. I asked for information. I'm going to get the information. There's a reason that I'm asking for the information. And I want you to be quiet until I get the information. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Good.
All that circle, Your Honor, is...
December of 97 to April of 98 at the time when you took back the credit card. Is that right? That's
Yes,
what you
ma'am.
circled.
Yes,
Let me
ma'am.
see
That's not
it.
when he took the credit card back, though.
Bird, can you help me with this, please? I'm having some trouble. See this?
Right.
598. Were you still using this credit card in May of 98?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, I don't remember what was purchased or what I bought from the card because when Bernard got back, he took over the bills. I mean, if it is something, it was something that either my daughter needed or something I had to have done to the house. I wasn't just using that card just to be using it. And the incident that it's not an incident, but what his wife is talking about, jewelry, yes, I did buy me a tennis bracelet. That's what it was. And I bought a watch because Bernard, it was my birthday, and he told me to go buy what I wanted.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did too.
Hey.
Why would I
Yes,
tell
you
you
did.
that?
And I don't have to justify myself to your wife. You have to do that. You made promises to me.
Miss Green, are you telling me, madam, before I look through these things, that you went and bought yourself a diamond tennis bracelet and a watch after you were divorced?
No,
with the
we
Sears
were still
credit card?
married. That's what I'm saying. She's saying the tennis bracelet and watch was bought after the fact. It was not. It was bought when we were still married.
Just a second. $12.97.
And then I'm the one that was paying the Sears bill in the first
Well,
place
my
until
money,
you
when I
got
was
back.
sending you
Not
money
with your
from
money. I
overseas.
worked too. Yes, you were
No,
supposed
you
to.
didn't work.
What did I do?
Sit in your butt. You didn't
Okay,
work.
then I
never-
sat on my butt because you wanted me to do
I'm never
that.
going to get these people to be quiet. Sir, the amount of the Sears bill is not $5,000 for things that she purchased after
Thank you.
December.
Sorry.
After December of 97. After December of 97. The amounts that she purchased did not come up to anywhere near $5,000. Now, as of,
I got some
there
more
was
here,
a
Your Honor.
balance. What?
I have some more documentation for you, too.
You can bring all the documentation you want. You're
Miss
talking about.
Green,
Yes, I'm not.
you're
going
going to lose this case.
Okay.
You're going to lose. Because you're talking to him. And I explained it to you before. You don't talk to him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor, I think she's just doing this out of being vindictive.
Been vindictive for what?
Me moving on with my life, my new wife.
I'm happy for you. Leave me alone now, would you?
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Airman Bernard Green is suing ex-wife Joanne Green for a car and credit bill she ran up while he was in the Persian Gulf.
The truth of the matter is, in April of '98, she bought a woman's dress for herself, $42.11.
All I'm asking for is $2,500, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah, I know. All you're asking for is $2,500. Not $2,500. Doesn't come anywhere near $2,500.
This is a continuance, Your Honor.
Well, sir, I can't do it without information.
Okay. Here you go.
I mean, there was a balance of over $4,000 in December of 1997. This was a running balance. That's something that should have been resolved in the judgment to divorce. What you're saying is she used your card after you were divorced.
Yes, ma'am.
How was I doing it without you knowing,
Okay.
Bernard?
Sir, what you've circled here, what you're showing me here is historical data as of December of '97. I'm not interested in that.
Well, our divorce was finalized on December '97.
This is, as of October 25th, 1997. You just showed me that she spent almost $500 to repair a car. She bought herself an Elgin watch.
Without me knowing about it.
Well, that's your problem. Then you should have dealt with that in the judgment of divorce. That's when you should have dealt with it. You should have said, until all of these matters are resolved, I'm not signing off on this divorce. I want to see the current bills as of December.
I was
of
overseas,
97.
ma'am. I was
Well,
in
that's
Saudi
not my
Arabia.
fault, sir, and I don't plan to revisit that. That's what you're supposed to do if you're smart. You're supposed to make sure that all these things are done. I mean, she may have charged several $100s after December of '97, but the big expenses that she charged were before your divorce.
Your Honor, could I say something, please?
Bought some things for the house, bought it some tires, bought a
Your
pillow.
Honor, I think she was doing this out of being vindictive.
Been vindictive for what?
Me moving on with my life, my new wife.
I'm happy for you. Leave me alone now, would you?
I'm not messing with you.
Why are we here?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Okay. People don't understand, so I'm going to make it very easy. At most, Mr. Green, there were a couple of $100 charges after December of 1997 that she charged. I assume you have your credit card back now? And that you've closed
It's being
that account?
investigated, Your Honor.
Very good. So I'm not dealing with your claim, except that you're getting your Toyota back, because I believe you're entitled to that. With regard to this, you talk to each other, you talk too much, I'm not dealing with it. We're not talking about a lot of money. She did not rack up $5,000 worth of bills on your credit card after you were divorced. It was a running balance well prior to that, over $4,500 prior to that, including her jewelry purchases, which were made prior to your divorce. You should have been smart enough, sir, before you signed off on your judgment of divorce to figure out what all your bills were and to have them included in the judgment of divorce. So I'm going to deal with that. Then I'm going to deal with your nonsense counterclaim. Your nonsense counterclaim says that he promised to buy your daughter some clothes before Christmas, and he didn't keep that promise, so you went out and bought the clothes, and you want him to pay for the clothes.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that it?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's about $300?
Yes, ma'am.
You're even. Your case is dismissed. Your counterclaim is dismissed. That's
Parties
all.
are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I don't agree with it. I'm keeping the Camry because he gave it to me, and we have a 13-year-old daughter, and we need transportation, and I'm not going to give it back because he shouldn't have gave it to me.
I'm not happy with it. I thought the judge didn't give me a chance to really explain my side, and, you know, I guess that's it.
I don't have a problem with the decision, but I don't think it was necessary for her to make that statement, calling me a nitnoid or whatever. I mean, that was totally out of line. There was no need for that.
He's been taking care of her before they were married, after they were married, and is still taking care of her. And she still considers to be, just evil.
His wife is very vindictive and jealous and just won't leave me alone, and she needs a job.
It's not the end of this. It's not going to be the end.
Lewis says he gave Stephen a car.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the court, please. Your Honor, this is case number 453 on the calendar in the matter of Foonberg versus Lobenfeld. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, sir.
Mr. Funberg, according to your complaint, you and the defendant had been friends. That's what you say here. You say, I was approached by my friend, Louis Lobenfeld, the defendant. So I assume you were friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. He approached you in March of 1996. He was having a difficult time. His wife was ill. Has she recovered, sir, or not?
She passed away.
In what year?
December of '96.
Okay. And he needed a loan. And you made that loan to him. He needed $10,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And you had a note securing that loan?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see it, please? Is this the note that you signed, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, you realized that the rates he was charging you were usurious. Is
Yes.
that right?
Mm-hmm.
And you realized that, sir,
No,
didn't
ma'am.
you? You didn't?
No, ma'am.
Well, clearly you did,
Yes.
because, and clearly you did as well realize that the interest rates that you were charging him, 36%, were excessive because you put in this note, which I assume you prepared. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You said, Lou has not been pressured or forced into paying this interest rate by Steve or anyone else. Lou, that's you, realizes that money can be borrowed from other sources at lower interest rates, but willingly chooses to deal with Steve. That's you.
Yes, ma'am.
Under no circumstances will Lou accuse Steve of any unlawful doings. Right? So clearly, at the time that he entered into this promissory note, you were aware of the fact that this was unusually high interest. Is that a fair statement, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Now, I have done some math on the loan based upon your complaint. I have added up the months that you indicate he paid you. I have added up the net cost of the car that you took as security and sold of $4,587. That all adds up to $11,587. You say that he still owes you almost $8,000.
Excuse me, that's not right.
It's my son, he's a witness.
A witness to what?
To
You talk to me. A witness to what?
Well, he was present when Mr. Funberg mentioned the fact that when he took my car, that would be necessary, and my son was witness to that discussion.
Well, why don't you tell me about that conversation, sir?
Well, to be honest, first of all, Your Honor, everything you say is correct. I was aware of the high interest rate. Mr. Funberg did not agree that it was high, of course, but at the time I was desperate. My wife was terminally ill. I cannot, as Mr. Funberg claims, go to any other place to get money, because I've gone to other places and no one will loan me money. I do not own any property. I'm a working man, so I went to Mr. Funberg. First, I would like to say, at no time is he now, or ever has he been, a friend of mine. I knew his brother from playing softball. That was the first time I ever met Mr. Funberg, was when I initiated contact to get a loan.
Well, let me ask you this question, sir. If you played softball with his brother, you must have been aware of the fact that this was his business.
No, I was not. One time his brother mentioned to me, I have a brother who loans money to people.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, but I didn't know he was a banker, or he just said
that he loans money
Right.
to people. And you've done this, I
Right.
assume, Mr. Funberg, with certain regularity.
No, ma'am.
How many times have you lent money to people, sir, in the past 5 years?
Outside of family, one other time.
Only to him?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many inside of family?
Once.
So twice in all that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you think that that's unusual, that your brother would say to him when they were playing softball, why don't you talk to my brother, he lends money to people? Isn't that strange?
I doubt that was said. I wasn't there, so I can't attest to it, but I doubt that was said.
Well, did you ever discuss with the defendant the fact that you had the ability to loan him money?
Prior to him calling me? No, ma'am.
So he had to find that out from someplace. I mean, I assume he has a larger circle of friends than just your brother we play softball with.
I don't know.
Anyway, aside from the fact that these rates were, in my judgment, usurious, let me hear about this car, because that's your defense.
Yes, ma'am. Well, when I approached Mr. Funberg, and he said, well, I'm reluctant to loan you that amount of money, and the only way I will agree to it is if you sign over the pink slip on your car, which at the time was a brand new 1994 Saturn, paid cash for it, $22,000 at the time in '94. I admit there were things wrong with it. Windows, may not be, it wasn't brand new anymore at the time when Mr. Fulmberg took over the car.
Which was in what year, 97?
Which was January of '98.
January of 98?
Yes.
Okay.
When I was in his office and I agreed finally.
What kind of office does he have?
Just an office in Beverly Hills with his name, the name of the company on the door.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I currently do property management.
What were you doing back then?
Legal publishing.
So I walked in and I said, okay, I agree to giving my pink slip. Never at any time did Mr. Fulmberg say, well, if you can't pay the loan and I take your car, you're still going to owe me money. Now, I'm not familiar with banks, with finance companies, but knowing the term collateral, I always thought that collateral meant just that. If I give you, I'm signing over a piece of property. If I can't make the payments, you get the piece of property, and that covers the loan. Now, at the time that I gave him the pink slip on my car, the car was worth in excess, well over $10,000, which was the initial loan payment. Now, it's my contention that once he took the car, and I tried over the phone, he called me in New York. I was in New York, and I explained the situation. I didn't have any money. I hadn't registered the car. There were outstanding tickets. I just was in very bad shape. He said, well, that's it. I'm taking the car. The car cannot be on the street, and I'm taking it. I tried to ask him for some more time. He said, no, I'm taking the car. I called my son. I told him Fulmberg was going to call and just go along with him. Never at any time was ever anything mentioned that, okay, after I take the car, you're still going to owe me money. I just thought that's it. He's taking the car.
He didn't at the same time, Mr. Lobenfeld, ever say to you, this satisfies the loan. This was just in your mind that it satisfied the loan.
Right, because that's what I thought collateral is. Once you cannot make the payments, the collateral goes to the lender and the debt is canceled. At no time did it ever enter in my mind that he would come back a month later writing me a letter saying that he sold the car for so much, such and such, and that I still owe him $7,000.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What you're telling me is that you borrowed money from your credit card for this total stranger. You must think I was born yesterday. I wasn't born yesterday.
And later today.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a window cleaner.
And how much do you earn doing windows?
About $50,000 a year.
$50,000 a year. This whole debt that you owe her is $1,385.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephen Fulmberg claims Louis Lobenfeld won't repay a debt. Louis says the interest rate was too high.
Mr. Lobenfeld, so let me give you the drill on collateral.
Okay.
Have you ever owned a home?
No, ma'am.
No. Well, if you own a home and you have that home secured by a mortgage, and if you stop paying the mortgage and they take your house and they sell your house, and let's say they don't sell it for the amount of the mortgage, right? You still owe them the difference. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So he sells the car, and let's say that all he could get for the car was $1,000. And what you're suggesting is, in your mind, you said, well, he took the car, and now I don't owe him anything. What I'm telling you is, he originally borrowed, a little over 2 years ago, now, $10,000 from you. He's paid you back $11,587. Mr. Fulmberg, there ain't no way in hell that you're getting a judgment for another $8,000. Not from me. Now, he was in a hard period of time. His wife was ill, couldn't get money from anyplace else, doesn't own any property, makes a minimum salary, and he was really kind of pressed. In all probability, a lot of this went for medical bills and probably funeral expenses. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm not saying you have to be party to that, because it's not family, but 36% interest a year is excessive. By anybody's standards, it's excessive. Where do you get 36% interest?
At the time, the credit cards where I borrowed the money to get the money was upwards of 20%.
Show me.
I don't have that with me today, Your Honor. My current credit card rates are still upwards of 20% with excellent credit.
I want to tell you something, sir. What you're telling me is, without any proof, that you borrowed money from your credit card for this total stranger. You must think I was born yesterday. I wasn't born yesterday, because you don't look like a moron. And only a moron would take out $10,000 from their credit card at 20% interest for a perfect stranger. Is that what you expect me to believe?
That's not what I stated, ma'am. I didn't take the entire amount from my credit cards, but I understand what you're saying.
Perfect. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I knew all along that he was charging an outrageous interest, and it was usury, and I felt that in a court of law that justice would be served, and it was served today. And I'm very grateful for Judge Judy.
No good deed shall go unpunished.
I love Judge Judy.
And now the next case.
All parties on Mayfield versus Mayfield. Step forward, please.
28-year-old hairstylist Demetra Mayfield is suing her ex-husband, 28-year-old window washer James Mayfield, for ruining her credit.
You folks were divorced last year, is that right?
Correct.
How long had you been married?
For 2.5 years.
According to your divorce decree, Miss Mayfield, your husband was to assume certain debts.
Correct.
You assumed some debts, he assumed some debts, and that was part of the decree. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
One of those debts was about $1,400 that included either a phone, some medical bills. They were yours.
Correct.
And your former wife complained, sir, that since that time you have failed to pay those debts, which has resulted in those debts tarnishing her credit.
Correct.
You don't deny that you haven't paid those debts.
No, I do not.
Why don't you pay it?
Well, I'm in the process of doing that. I've been trying to get myself together as well, my credit, and I've been going through my brokers to do that. And then it's on my credit report as well. And
it should be on your credit report. You assumed this debt.
like I said, I've been going through my broker. He has been taking care of that.
What broker? A real estate broker?
Real estate broker.
Because you want to buy a house?
Correct.
You and your wife?
Correct.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a window cleaner, high-rise window cleaner.
And what does your wife do?
She's a receptionist for a legal firm.
So you want to buy a house?
Yes.
And how much is this house you want to buy?
Approximately like $170,000.
170?
Yeah.
And how much do you earn doing windows?
About $50,000 a year.
$50,000 a year? You have your own company?
No, I work for the city.
So you earn $50,000 a year. This debt, this whole debt that you owe her is $1,385. Why don't you just take a large gulp, Mr. Mayfield, and say next week's paycheck is going to pay off this debt so that we are totally and completely separated. You have no children together, right?
We have a son.
You do have a child?
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't say that in here. You paying child support?
Correct.
How much do you pay in child support?
It was $557, and then I've been taking her back to court. This is why that I just was awarded more time with my son, 45% to be exact, and the deductions has been getting lower and lower because I've been taking her back to court to try to get more time.
So you've been taking her back to court for a reduction in your child support?
Well, actually, it's been just this year that I've done that, yes.
It's getting better.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many other children?
I have 3.
How old are they?
Well, actually 2.
Well, what'd you do, forget one?
Well, I'm...
Been busy.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Hairstylist Demetra Mayfield claims ex-husband, window washer James Mayfield, didn't pay bills in accordance with their divorce decree.
You were paying at $100 a week for child support.
$110
a week.
It's $257.08 every 2 weeks.
$100 and a quarter. And why do you want it reduced?
One, we share time. It's 50%, but on paper it's 45%. I have them every Thursday through Sunday. And daycare is fine. We pay that. That's together. But I feel that, well, it was awarded to me that each time I have him, that reduces because I spend the same amount of time with him. I have a family of my own, just like she do, and I have things I have to do as well.
Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many other children?
I have 3.
How old are they?
Well, actually 2.
Well, what'd you do, forget one?
Well, we're talking about one, but I have two other, so I said 3.
How old are your 2 others?
One is 8, the other one is 3.
Not with your present wife?
The 8-year-old is with her. It's through her.
The 8-year-old, so you sort of got back together again?
No,
the 8-year-old is my son.
Just a minute. The 8-year-old is your child?
Yes, he is.
Not your biological child?
No.
No.
And the 3-year-old?
It's my biological child.
Who does that child live with?
Its mother. His mother.
And you were married for 2.5 years?
Since 91 to 95 when I left. Then divorce wasn't final until March 12th of
So you had a relationship
this year.
and you made another child during this interim period, is that right?
Correct.
I've been busy. In any event, how long are you married to your present wife?
It'll be a year in April 29th.
So that your household income has increased?
Correct.
Because I assume she's making money, right?
Well,
so your
she just
household
started.
income has increased and you've been taking your former wife back for a reduction in your child support. Mr. Mayfield, you have to get it together, sir. You owe her $1,385. Now, the question is, how much have you paid on that bill, $1,385 so far, sir?
The whole thing is, on my credit report, I don't know how much that cellular bill is because there were 2. And
You have it?
I have it, yeah.
Just give it to me, please, Ms. Mayfield. And, sir, just answer my question. Have you paid nothing on that bill? Anything on that bill that you can prove to me right now?
No.
You paid nothing?
Nothing.
That are his. There are 2 cellular bills.
Oy. How much? Give me the bottom line.
One is 1,081, and the other one is 159, and I think the chiropractic bill is 145, something like that. And I paid out over $3,000 worth of debt that we both made.
Wireless is 153. And what is this, SAC? Is that the...
That's the chiropractic bill.
Chiropractor. Is that for you?
Correct.
203. Officer Byrd, trusty calculator, please. 1,081. 153. 203.
1437, Judge.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Okay. Ms. Mayfield, he has paid nothing on these debts.
Nothing.
It is unreasonable that he has paid nothing on these debts. 3 checks will be drawn to the 3 different people on this account in the total amount of $1,437. Then you've completely separated your financial business, Mr. Mayfield, and with an income of $50,000, how much do you earn annually?
30,000. Yeah, 30,000 a year.
So that's 80. And you get child support for your 8-year-old child?
No, I don't.
You should. On $80,000 household income, Mr. Mayfield, you should have paid this last year when you were supposed to. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,437. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He does that. He goes through life making debts and not paying them. So I think she was very fair in her judgment.
I feel that it was just unfair. I have nothing to say.
She's straight to the point, and she's a very strong woman.
Black, red, and white feelers, size 8.5.
Black, red, white feet. Those are sneakers?
Sneakers, yes.
When did you buy them? That day?
December the 22nd, the 21st.
How much were they?
The sale price was $34.19, I think.
And you found a pair of sneakers.
Right.
Tell me how you found them.
Okay, I was coming across the yard, and it was a bag laying outside on the grass, and it had foot action on it. And I looked in the box, and there was brand new tennis shoes. So when no one outside to identify him, so I took him in the house.
So what did you do with them?
I took them in the house, and then nobody claimed the shoes.
Well,
So-
did you put out a notice, Miss Brown? I mean, did you go and ask anybody?
No, I didn't.
Well, how are they supposed to know that you had them if nobody claimed them?
Because when I went in the house and took them in there, at the time I found them, I was on my way to work. So I just took them in the house, and I left and went on to work.
Well, I understand that, but that's not my question, Miss Brown. My question is, you said nobody claimed them.
No, nobody didn't claim.
Well, how are they supposed to know you had them?
Well,
Did you
they
put up
didn't
a sign? Is there a common laundry room area? Is there a something? So that
No.
you could write found, brand new pair in box, sneakers?
Well, when I came outside the next day, she was talking about they was her shoes, but she never did ask me for the shoes.
Well, what did she say to you when she came out the next day?
The next day, she started badgering me, following me to my car.
What did she say?
She saw me, going toward my car and was threatening me, calling.
Did she say to you, did you find my shoes?
She said that I stole her shoes. I entered into her apartment and stole some shoes. And I didn't steal no shoes.
Okay. Did you say she came into your apartment?
No, I did not.
Do you think she came into your apartment?
Yes, I do.
Well, what makes you think she came into your apartment?
Because at the time that the shoes were stolen, I went to the manager, reported them. I called back to Foot Action, spoke to the manager. I said, if anyone returned a pair of shoes, could you please give me a call? He gave me a call.
When?
On December the 22nd.
So the next day?
The next day she returned the shoes. I have a letter from...
Just a second. 12/22. You returned the shoes, Miss Brown?
And got the money back.
You returned the shoes?
I returned the shoes before, after me and her had the controversy when she was arguing with me, accusing me having the shoes and so on. And she knew that I didn't take the shoes and didn't enter.
Just a minute. When you had this controversy with her outside, what time was that?
It was in the afternoon.
On December, just a second. On December 22nd, it was in the afternoon?
And she lost the shoes on December 21st.
Miss Brown, why don't you just answer my question?
I'm answering your question.
No, you're not. You had this argument with her, you said, outside in the afternoon of December 22nd.
Right, in the shoes.
When had you returned the shoes?
I did not return. I returned the shoes to the store on the 22nd.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. What time?
Round about 2.
Did you return the shoes before or after you had this argument with her?
After we had the argument.
So after you had the argument and you knew that they were her shoes, you returned them to the store and got the money?
Because...
Not because. Is that right?
That's right.
Good. And how much did you get for the shoes?
Here got the receipt right here.
Good.
And she didn't return the shoes at 2 o'clock. She returned the shoes at 4:34.
In the afternoon?
In the afternoon.
Was that after you would have this argument or before?
We didn't have the argument about the shoes. I did not know at the time she had the shoes. My assumption was that a stranger took the shoes until I got a phone call from the manager of the store. When I went in, he showed me this receipt with her signature on it. And I said, she's my neighbor. I said, this lady is my neighbor.
Okay. Was it after that that you had the argument with her?
Yes, it was after. And the whole time me and her had the argument, it had nothing to do with the shoes. We had an argument about her harassing me at my job, threatening me, calling the job, threatening my coworker.
About something entirely different?
Yes.
All right. About something different?
Yes.
In any event, this is Miss Brown. This is not a hard case. Pay attention.
I am. She lying.
Pay attention. The first thing when you find property,
you returned it and put up a 30-day notice. I know that.
Right. You give it to somebody
that claims it.
But if
and you didn't do that.
Because she claimed they was hers and she owed me $40. And I turned to make it even with the money she owed me. And she know why.
Just a minute. So you're telling me that she... Hold on, Miss Brown.
Wait a minute. You're not...
Hey! Is what you're telling me that you returned these shoes for cash because from some other time she owed you $40? Is that what you're saying to me?
Right.
And if you were returning the shoes and getting the money because you felt as if she owed you a debt, is that right?
Right.
then you knew whose shoes they were when you
Not
returned
when
them.
I
She
found
returned
them.
the shoes because she's a drug addict.
Hey, Miss Simon, do I look like I need help?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Whatever happened to your steering wheel?
Now listen to me,
had
Mr.
nothing to
Newkirk.
do with
Mr. Newkirk, look at me. Don't look at them.
All right.
You look at them when you're having a conversation in your living room. You look at me when you testify.
All right.
Do you understand?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. And Dina Simon says her neighbor, Mary Brown, stole her new shoes.
Miss Brown, you can't lie to me because otherwise you're going to look foolish. Because you're going to look foolish, and I'm going to tell you why. Because what you wrote in your papers here, and what you seemed to be telling me at first was, at the time that you returned the shoes, you had no idea whose shoes they were, because you just found them outside in a common area. And you may not have done the right thing by posting up a sign, because you said to me, nobody claimed them.
Right.
Right? Now you're telling me that you returned the shoes because you knew she owed you $40, and you knew they were her shoes because you were really just getting your money back. You told me two different stories. Do you understand?
When I found them, I didn't know they was hers.
You mean at the second that you found them?
Yeah.
When did you find out they were hers?
I didn't find out until they was hers, until she accused me they was hers.
You had already returned the shoes.
Right, I have.
Oh, got to get her a copy of my latest book.
Oh, well.
The first one.
The latest book.
Get her the first one, Judge.
And the
She
first
shouldn't
one,
be peeing
too.
on your leg.
Right. Get your copy of both books. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $34.
No, this started out of
$34.46. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
For someone that's on drugs, that's an alcoholic, of course they do anything for money.
She the thief. I never stole nothing. She the one steal. She the thief right there. And she know I don't steal. Because if I was a drug addict, I don't think you'll let me come in your house and babysit your kid or give me a key to your house.
And now the next case.
All parties on Harmon versus Newkirk. Step forward, please.
42-year-old homemaker Dolores Hardman claims her neighbor, 42-year-old telecommunications operator Tim Newkirk, broke her steering wheel. Tim says he didn't do it.
Ms. Harmon, you claim that the defendant damaged the steering wheel of your car.
Yes.
You want him to pay, I think it's $275. Is that what it cost you to repair the steering wheel?
What it cost me was $75. I have a receipt for that. But with by me not having a car and having to do transportation, busing and everything, you know, that's why for other causes.
Other causes. All right. Were you present when he damaged the steering wheel?
No, I wasn't.
Well, who was?
My daughter.
Step up here.
Hi.
Tell me your name.
Lakeisha Johnson.
All right, Miss Johnson, tell me how Mr. Newkirk damaged the steering wheel of your
Well,
car. It's your mother's car?
Yes, it's my mom's car,
Go
and
ahead.
I live across the street from him. And Tim is a friend of mine, and he came over, and he was talking to me, and he wanted to go to the store. First he came over, and he sat in the passenger seat, and we were talking. He wanted to go up around the corner. We live like 2 blocks maybe from apartments, and he wanted to go over there for a reason. And, you know, we were, he turned on the music and off the music, and we were just talking.
Was the car
No,
moving?
we were parked.
Okay, so you were
and
talking
my mom was at in the restroom at this point. And then he got out and went across the street. He said, "You think your mom will take me to the store?" I said, "I'm sure she will." He said, "Well, I'm going to go get the money." He got out, went across the street back to his parents' house. And my mom came out, and she sat in the car. And I had already asked her, "Will you take Tim to the store?" And she said, "Well, you know, sure, or whatever." Tim came across the street then to my side, and he asked my mom if she'd give him a ride to the store. And my mom, of course, said yes, and he got in. When we came back from the store, my mom's sliding door gets jammed sometimes.
On the passenger side?
Well, it's a Caravan. So I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and he's in the back where there's a sliding door right here.
So he was in the back, and the sliding door sometimes gets stuck.
It gets stuck.
Okay, so you came back from the store. You took him to the store.
Right. We took him to the store, and we got back. As soon as we got back, Me and Tim were still talking. My mom was then again in distress, and she hopped out the car and went to the restroom. And Tim couldn't get the door from unlocked, and I was kind of comfortable. I didn't want to let him out. Well, it wasn't that I wanted to let him out. I just didn't help him get out right away. He jumped up, and he climbed over the bar where the cup holder and things are, and he, like, squeezed through the little part of the steering wheel.
So he came from the back of the car.
The back of the car.
Came from the back of the car to the front, and you were sitting in the passenger seat. And he went out the driver's door.
Exactly.
Because he couldn't get out the back door.
He couldn't get out the sliding door.
The sliding door in the back.
He wanted to.
Okay, and then what happened?
And he just kind of, like, squeezed through the little space.
And he got out?
And he got out.
And then what happened?
And when my mom came back, she wanted to, you know, just turn it backwards to listen to the radio, and it wouldn't, it was locked, it was jammed.
You couldn't turn the car on?
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He, like, squeezed through the little part of the steering wheel.
Now listen to me. Certainly not Mr. Newkirk is going to climb over to the front seat to try to get out of your car when he can get out of the back seat. This is not an aerobics class for him.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by
Amy Bond is suing her former fiancé, Thomas Wheelock. Amy claims that when their relationship ended, Thomas stopped making the payments on his car loan, which she co-signed. Thomas says he only stopped when Amy refused to give him the car.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Judge, it's number 172 on the calendar in the matter of Bond versus Wheelock. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Vaughn, you were engaged to this gentleman.
Yes, I was.
And have a child together.
Yes.
Now, according to your complaint, you are suing this gentleman because while you were together, you co-signed for a car for him.
Yes.
Big mistake.
Yes, I know.
And when you separated, you took back the car.
Yes, I did. The reason why I took it back was because he was unemployed at the time, and my name is on that insurance and on the car payments.
What about when you separated? You took the car with you initially when you separated.
I took the car the first 2 days, and then her and her mother came over to pick up the car, and I said I would refuse to pay for it if she took it.
That sounds fair.
I took it back because he was unemployed. He didn't make the insurance payments or the car payments that month before because he didn't have a job.
Did you miss a car payment?
No, I did not. Well, because she was paying most of the time for the car.
She was paying it?
Yeah.
For it. Why weren't you paying for it?
Because I'm a bum. I couldn't keep a job for very long, and
Why not?
just had problems.
I mean, that's an interesting comment. Maybe truthful, but you classify yourself as a bum. And you said that with a smile on your face. You think that's right?
No.
Well, Mr. Wheelock, you know, I read your answer, sir. I'll get to the car in a second. I read your answer, sir, and your answer complains of lack of visitation with your son.
Mm-hmm.
And you hope that at least I can, in some small measure, resolve the issue of visitation with your son.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to expose a 2-year-old child to a bum?
Can I tell you that?
Well, you're the child's father. If you can't tell me that, who do you think can?
Then I don't deserve to see him.
Then I don't have to entertain your counterclaim.
Okay.
Are you being honest with me, sir?
Yes.
That takes care of that. That's an easy one. Miss Bourne, you have the car.
Yes.
You took the car back shortly after you separated.
Yes.
Then you have to sell it. I don't know what you're complaining about here.
I took it back because he wasn't making the payments. Why should I make the payments when he has the car?
You're absolutely right. You should have sold it immediately.
I've been
Meanwhile,
trying to.
It's been sitting in your garage.
Yes, I've been trying to. In May, a month after we broke up, I put it in an ad. I did not get any responses. I've gone down to 6,000 in another ad. Gotten some calls, but no offers yet. I've been trying my hardest. I don't know what else to do.
Mr. Wheelock, you want to say anything to me? Huh?
About what?
About this whole process.
I think it's a joke.
Why?
Because I mean, either way, I have nothing to gain or lose.
But do you feel as if you have any responsibility at all towards helping to make up the deficit in what the car will sell for?
Your Honor, I told her that if she gave me the car, I'd be happy to pay for it.
Do you have a job now?
Yes, I do.
Who do you live with?
I live with my parents at the current time.
Do you help support your son?
No, I do not.
Why not?
Because I haven't been able to.
Well, if you haven't been able to help support your son, how are you going to pay for a car?
I just got this job. I was only making $7 an hour at the other job, and all of it went to rent.
To your parents?
No. I was living with my friends. It's kind of a confusing situation. Moved into my friend's house, and I was paying $450 a month for rent, and that's most of my paycheck.
So that you moved back to your parents' house?
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is a no-win situation. It's really a no-win situation. And I want you to think that there's really a much larger picture here, and the much larger picture here is that you two people, when you were still children, had a baby. Now, I don't know why you, sir, refer to yourself in such derogatory terms. I know you say that with a smile, but I attribute that to nervousness.
Actually, not really. I have a 2-year-old son, and I spend over $450 sleeping on my friend's floor for rent. I'm a bum.
Well, you made some misjudgments in your life. But this child is only going to have one father. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I have to straighten up because I have a child. And you never know, it may be the only child you'll ever have. But you're his father. And it's a very bad thing for a child to feel abandoned by a parent.
Yes, I've given him rights to see him. We've set up every Wednesday for him to come see him when he was living with his friends. And half the time he didn't show up. That's one of the reasons why I gave up, because I'd be sitting there waiting for him to show, and he just didn't make the effort to make it.
Why not, Mr. Wheeler?
I didn't want to get into this, but how do I say this? I've been afraid for myself and for my son every time I'm with her.
Why is that?
Because she's hurt me and she's hurt Brandon when I'm around. That's why we broke up.
How she hurt him?
She's thrown him through the air onto a bed. She threw a can towards him, did not hit him. She left him outside my parents' house when it was raining, and then she drove off, and that was her game. I mean, if it hurt me, that's what she wanted to do.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Your Honor, if we could continue this another day, I can get the 911 tape.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If he feels as if you made no effort to see him, it lends to a feeling of worthlessness to a child. They feel I'm not even a worthwhile enough person for my own father to come to see me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 20-year-old Amy Bond is suing her former fiancé, Thomas Wheelock, because she says he stopped making the payments on a car loan which she co-signed. Thomas says he only stopped when Amy refused to give him the car.
Just tell me what your side of the story is. I'm a pretty good judge of the truth of things.
She would, for the first 3 months that we split up, she had this attitude that she didn't want Brandon. So she'd always tell me, sending me pager messages, that she didn't want him. And then she'd leave him.
Listen.
And if I can get a letter from my parents, they would tell you that, but they're just afraid they won't be able to see Brandon anymore.
If you made a mistake with each other, put a period at the end of that and say, I have to move on with my life, but we made this was a mistake. We were 20 years old. 20 years old, you're still babies. You have a child. You have to act responsibly towards the child. If you made a mistake in picking him, and if you made a mistake in picking her as the mother of your child and he is the father of your child, that's not the baby's fault. You, sir, have a responsibility to see your child. And that doesn't mean in a controlled environment. You don't Does he have a drug problem?
No.
He just has a keeping a job problem, right?
And keeping promises. If he says he's going to show up to see his son, I expect him to be there.
Well, when you say see his son, I assume you don't mean seeing him in your home.
No, I go to, when he was living with his friends, we went to his parents' house, a mutual place. His parents...
You mean to just drop the child off?
I would stay there.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, Ms. Bond, we're going to talk about that. I mean, I'm not interested in this car. This car is in your possession. You're going to have to sell this car, and if you have a loss and then you want to refile your case about the car, that's your prerogative. But you can't have the car and the money, too. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fine. But let's get back to this baby, because while the car is important, it's not half as important as the two of you and how you're going to interact with this child. Ms. Bond, you just said to me, I don't know why I stay there when he has visitation. You should not be there. You two people clearly don't like each other anymore. I don't think that there's open hostility, perhaps. I don't see that, but there might be. He should have an opportunity, unless there's some reason of drugs, alcohol, some kind of chemical dependency that might place the child at risk. He should have an opportunity to spend time with his child with you not present. He's the father. And maybe if he felt better about himself, taking some responsibility time-wise with his child, maybe he wouldn't think he's such a bum. And you may be, sir, just that. But you have a responsibility when it comes to visiting your child, because that's right for your son. Quite frankly, I don't give two hoots for the two of you. You made the mistake. But by compounding that, it seems to me you're going to hurt this child, because as he gets older, he's going to wonder where his father is. And all he's got to figure is that you made it difficult for his father to see him, then he's going to be angry with you, right?
Yeah.
And if he feels as if you made no effort to see him, he's not only going to be angry with you, but it lends to a feeling of worthlessness to a child. They feel, I'm not even a worthwhile enough person for my own father to come to see me. Think that's fair?
No.
He's the innocent. As young as you are, you did a very grown-up thing by making a baby. And it's your responsibility to see to it that this child does not grow up with a feeling of worthlessness because his own father doesn't want to see him. Take care of it.
What about the loss of the car that I've already incurred already?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Come on! Get it together, Mr. Bassett!
That's the truth.
You think I have stupid written over here?
No, I don't know.
Good.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
All right. You have a $2,000 bill from the time you separated until this time, and I'm going to give you that. But that's all you're getting, because you have to either give the car back to him or you have to sell it, and whatever loss there is, it'll be absorbed. At that point, you do not have an anticipatory loss. You have a loss that you can put a number on. I have a $3,000 loss. Now I feel as if you have to contribute to that. But, Ms. Bourne, he says that if you give him back the car, he will assume the payments for it. So that's what I think that you should do. Give him back the car. Mr. Wheelock, for a 20-year-old guy to say I'm a bum is a terrible thing. I don't know what kind of upbringing you had, but as a parent, if your parents permitted you to grow up to your age thinking that you're a bum, that they didn't do a terrific job, you better do a better job with your son. Because if you think you're a bum, unless you do something positive right now with a child that's 2 years old, your son will grow up thinking the same thing about himself, because that's what happens, and that's not fair. You don't seem as if you're a stupid young man. You've done some stupid things. So shape up, and when he has visitation, you don't have to be there, because that's control, and that's not fair. You're each parents, but you both have to act responsibly, and you better start paying some child support, sir. Now. That's all.
You may step out. Back to your records.
And now the next case.
Party's on. Stevenson versus Bassett. Step forward, please.
20-year-old Melissa Stevenson says her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Grant Bassett, didn't pay her the money she loaned him to purchase a car. Grant claims Melissa was not his girlfriend, and the money for the car was a gift.
You two folks were an item, dated, were romantically involved. Do you claim you lent him money for a truck? Is that right?
That is correct.
No. We were not romantically involved.
Just a second. She claims that you were romantically involved as a couple, and she lent you money for a truck, which you bought. You say she gave you an old truck of hers, and it was a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
And it got towed.
Yes, ma'am.
So, those are two diametrically opposed stories. Let's hear about it, Miss Stevenson.
Grant and I were friends and dating for 4 months. Grant had decided to take a job out of state in Arizona, and I was all for him doing that because it was a career advancement, and he did not have a vehicle, so he had no way of getting there. So we had batted back and forth the idea of me loaning him the money to purchase a truck. And he looked through the auto trader and he found what he wanted, and I came down with a Visa check, you know how you can draw money off your account, and we were going to go purchase this truck. What happened is they wouldn't take the check, they wanted cash, so I went in, got a cash advance off my credit card for $3,500, and we purchased the truck.
Go ahead.
So Grant leaves for Arizona, takes the truck with him, and we had a verbal agreement that he would make double payments on whatever my minimum balance was on the credit card. So first month goes by, I get a couple checks in the mail. I was, oh great, I can pay my payment. I was happy about that. And the next month rolls by, we talked on the phone, and I said, are you going to send me some money this month? And he was having trouble paying his bills, and he stopped sending me any money. Pretty much every month I called him, send me $50, send me something so I can pay my credit card bill. I'm a struggling student trying to pay my bills here too. Nothing came of that. No money was sent. I kept on him, and...
That's it. That's where we are right now.
Basically, yes.
All right, Mr. Bassett.
Okay. What happened is I left for Arizona, and Melissa had a truck, so she lent me her truck because I was going to move out of state. I did not want to purchase another vehicle in California and have to move to Arizona, reside, have to pay the registration fees. So my first 2 weeks in the academy, I bought a vehicle. So her vehicle sat at the apartment that me and my partner were sharing, and it wasn't registered. Wasn't registered in either one of our names. We could not re-register it. They couldn't pass smog. The axles were bent, so it got towed away.
Mr. Bassett, you just told me a story that is totally different from hers. You understand
Yes, Your
that?
Honor. I was never there during the transaction. I don't know where she got the money. I don't know where she got the vehicle.
Can I see your transactions, please?
Sure. Your Honor, I have some other things that will help verify my story. Grant was about to move back from Arizona, and I called him up. I said, listen, we're friends. Why would you do this to me? I want some proof that you're going to pay me back when you can. And I said, would you be willing to sign a contract stating you owe me the money? And he said, yeah, I'm your friend. I'll do that. I just jotted down that he did owe me the money, that he had given me a payment already on it, and that he would have to pay. I was getting really frustrated by this time. I had been paying on it for over a year and paying interest, 18% on my credit card. That's ridiculous.
Show him this, please. Ask him. Mr. Bassett, is that your signature on that loan agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. And if you notice, their coincidence just happened to be on my birthday.
Happy birthday, sir.
Yeah.
Is that your signature?
Exactly. I was happy birthday.
I didn't know it was his birthday.
You signed that?
Yes.
So?
So she showed up on my birthday. All my friends were there, so I had to sign it just to get her out of there.
Get out of here. Give this to me.
Your Honor?
Get out, just a second. Am I correct that you went to Arizona in order to become a police officer?
Yes, that's correct.
Corrections officer in a jail.
Just a second. Being a corrections officer, similar as far as I'm concerned to being a police officer.
Yes, ma'am.
Supposed to be able to rely on what you say to me, Mr. Bassett. You don't sign something like this and then come and tell me this grandma story that it was your birthday and you just signed anything. Come on. Get it together, Mr. Bassett.
That's the truth.
You think I have stupid written over here?
No, I don't, no.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
balance of the loan is how much, madam?
About a little over $4,900.
All right. Let me tell you what I have, sir. Let me tell you what proof I have today. Aside from just hearing these two stories, which, you know, could be written from two different novels, I have proof that she withdrew the money from the bank. I have the fact that there was a car or a truck. And I have a signed statement from you with a signature that I have compared to your signature on your answer, and also you acknowledge that you signed that you owe her the money. That's the proof I have. Right?
Yes.
Stands up to me. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He never came up with a car or the money, so he must have gotten a new vehicle with my truck.
He destroyed her property. Now she's taking him to court to recover the damages.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Sir. Judge, this is number 191 on the calendar in the matter of Tracy versus Jackson. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Miss Tracy, your complaint reads like a short novel, but let me see if I understand it. This used to be your boyfriend?
Yes.
And then you broke up. Is that right?
Yes.
When you broke up with this gentleman, your name is Steve?
Yes, that's right.
You became involved with someone by the name of?
Greg Schwartz.
Greg. Then you moved in with Greg and that didn't work out, correct?
Correct.
Then you got back together with?
Steve.
Steve. And moved some of your furniture into his apartment.
Correct.
Pick it up from there.
I moved my furniture into his house because I needed a place to store it. Steve offered his house to store it with no problem. So I...
Well, just a second. You not only moved your furniture into the house, am I correct that you moved yourself into the house?
No, I did not.
Just your furniture?
Correct.
So you didn't stay at his house at all?
I did stay at his house, but not permanently. I used his house for storage of my furniture. I lived with my grandparents at their home.
Okay. So you weren't dating him at that point when you moved your furniture back into the house?
Yes, I did. Yes, we were.
So you were? You had renewed your relationship with him?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I moved my things into his house because he said it was okay. It was only a temporary situation until I decided to move back out again and take my things. And after spending a few months with him, we both realized that our relationship wasn't working out, and I broke it off with him. He became upset and angry and destroyed my furniture and belongings.
What furniture did he destroy, Tracy?
I have estimates and pictures.
Just tell me.
My couches, my bed, my VCR. I brought my VCR here for you to see. My comforter, my lamps. There's a garage door involved here, but that's later. My dining room table and my patio furniture. And
okay. Did you get any of your things back?
Yes, I recovered damaged property as well as what wasn't damaged.
What wasn't damaged?
My desk, and I would have to say that's about it.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Now, I read your answer. Am I correct, sir, that you do not deny destroying this furniture?
That's correct.
Okay, let's start with why you destroyed it.
Okay, the first thing why is because she did not call it off. What actually happened was I found out that she was doing something behind my back with the same gentleman that we moved the furniture out of. his house.
So you found out, according to you, that the plaintiff, Miss Tracy, was seeing Mr. Schwartz again.
That's right.
And that made you?
Upset, angry. That happened in June of '97. It was found out on June 20th. Confronted her about it. She lied time and time again, even though I knew that I saw her car at his house. I left a note on her car. I'm sure she didn't bring that with her today.
So you found her car in front of his house. What were you doing in front of his house?
Driving by to work.
You didn't have to go out of your way in order to do
not
that?
At all.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I have to...
Just a second. I'll get back to you. So you left a note on her car?
Right.
Saying that caught you, something like that?
Basically.
All right. But that wasn't enough. Then you got very angry.
No, actually after that, I confronted her about it. After a couple of days of lying to me, she finally admitted it. And then we were still talking with each other about it. I can't really say if we were together or not. And about a month after that, I was just upset one night and got sick of seeing the stuff that she gave me at my house. Had the dining room table in my dining area and got upset and just didn't want it anymore. And that's why I destroyed it. I did not want to see it anymore. I didn't want it in my house anymore. I didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore.
Tell me how you destroyed it.
Some of the chairs that were broken were kind of already broken because they were, like, if you step on the chair or if you rest your foot on one of the wooden rests.
I mean, did you pick up the furniture and fling it and hit it? All right, so you destroyed it.
Yeah.
Wasn't just the dining room table and
It was
chairs.
a dining room table and chairs, a couch.
How did you destroy the couch?
Threw it off my balcony. Because it was up in my bedroom, because she gave me some of the furniture.
We'll get to the giving, because that's your defense to this action. You say she gave you all this furniture.
Right.
And therefore it was yours to destroy. Tell me how she gave you the furniture, Mr. Jackson.
In March, the middle of March of this year, '97, we were together. She came over to my house one day, found out that her ex-boyfriend was cheating on her.
This same Mr. Schwartz.
Found out he was cheating on her, got really mad, decided to go to his condo where she had her furniture, and I offered to help move the stuff out along with two of my roommates, who we all have trucks, so we decided to go over there. And one day we moved all the stuff out of the garage, out of the townhouse. And I asked her, where do you want to put this? She said, well, I don't even want this stuff. Why don't you want it? It reminds me of him. And I go, well, if you don't want it, then, you know, what are you going to do with it? She said, do you want to take it? I go, I don't want all this stuff. Had couches, a table, lamp, and some personal items, kitchenware and a mattress, Christmas ornaments. I go, I don't want all this stuff. But the stuff that I can use, fine, I'll take. Dining room table, a couple couches, a lamp, and that's it. Everything else went in my garage.
What about the VCR over there that's got a big dent in it?
That was not for me. I don't know how she can justify me doing that. She had the VCR. She had it in my house, but I did not touch her VCR.
You mean when you were destroying all the other stuff, you didn't just happen, one of the couches or the dining room table and chairs or something didn't plop itself on that VCR?
I didn't walk into the closet and look for a VCR just to destroy. She didn't have her stuff out in my house. She had
I understand that. Somebody destroyed that.
I don't know who.
You were in a rage. Is that a fair statement,
That could be a good statement, yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He couldn't handle the fact that I didn't want to be with him anymore. He was drunk. And he was drunk. But, I mean, it's apparent that he has a drinking problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Jackson admits he flew into a rage when he found out his girlfriend, Kathy Tracy, was spending time with her ex-boyfriend. But he says the property he destroyed belonged to him, and Tracy has no grounds for this lawsuit.
Mr. Jackson, I find it difficult. She says that she just stored her stuff at your house while she was looking for another place. I don't think that you develop a sentimental attachment for furniture that reminds you of another boyfriend. That doesn't make sense. Common sense suggests to me that a couch is a couch, and a dining room table and chairs is a dining room table and chairs. And just because an old boyfriend ate off of it or sat on it doesn't mean that you don't want to look at it anymore, sir. Because if she was dating you again, she was still going to look at the furniture, right? If it was in your house. And she was going to be looking at the same furniture that Schwartz sat on and ate off of. So why would she say, I don't want to look at it anymore, and then put it in a place where she have to look at it every single day?
She said she didn't want it anymore.
You mean she didn't want to possess it anymore?
I'm just telling you what she said. When we moved it into my house, she said, I do not want this stuff.
Your Honor.
I have
That sounds
witnesses.
like nonsense. Yeah. Do I have any witnesses here?
Yes.
There are a lot of people on either side, but important witnesses. I don't want any nonsense witnesses because it's a busy day.
Can I?
Yeah?
Yes. Chris?
Step up here. State your name.
My name's Chris.
Chris, you have a last name.
Chris Delacroce.
Okay.
I helped him move out the furniture out of Schwartz's house.
Yes.
Okay. It was my understanding that she didn't want it because it reminded
I don't want to know what
of
your
him.
understanding was. Your understanding is relevant to you. It's not particularly relevant to me. I want to know what you saw and heard.
I saw her furniture move into our house.
And what did you hear her say, if anything? Right here. Nothing.
Nothing right to me. No.
Good. Did you hear her say? Did you hear her say anything to anyone else?
No.
Good. Sit. You have any other important witnesses for me to hear, Steve?
No.
Perfect. Do you have any witnesses you wish to me to hear? Important ones.
Yes, I do. I have Steve's former roommate who lived in the house with him before my furniture was moved in there, while it was moved in there, and after it was destroyed, and I took what was remaining of it.
Step up here. State your name, please.
Vanessa Williams.
Miss Williams, did you ever have a conversation with Mr. Jackson about the furniture?
Mm-hmm.
Means a yes or a no?
Yes, I did.
When did you have that conversation about the furniture?
The night after it happened.
The night after it was destroyed?
Mm-hmm.
And?
No. Was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he say to you?
He said that he asked me that he said that he felt bad that he did this, and he asked me if he should reimburse her for this. And I told him whatever he wants to do. I didn't really want to get involved at the time.
Were you his girlfriend at the time?
No.
You just was staying there with him?
Platonic roommate.
I rented a room from him.
So he asked you whether he should reimburse her?
Right.
Mr. Jackson, a couple of other questions I have for you. Why don't you sit down, Ms. Williams? Thank you. Did you have any of your own stuff in the apartment?
My house?
Yeah, in your house.
Yes, I did.
To destroy your own stuff?
No.
So you had selective rage. Right?
That's correct.
Your selective rage, Mr. Jackson, is going to cost you. Can I have a list of items that
yes, there's
that were
pictures,
destroyed?
estimates.
Thank you. Good.
And, Your Honor, I also wanted to state when I filed this complaint, I made it for $5,000, but I didn't exactly total it up. It doesn't quite come up to $5,000, and I put the price difference that I came up with.
Well, what is it?
$3,939.52, I believe.
Is that what all of these things cost you?
Actually, I took estimates only because the places where I bought this furniture either are not in business anymore, so I got the closest estimate to my furniture that I had.
Well, was this almost $4,000 more expensive or less expensive than what you actually paid for the furniture?
That is about the approximate price range of
Not
furniture.
price range. I want to know what you actually paid for the furniture.
To be exact?
Yeah, to be exact.
About
Because I have the bills here.
$3,200, but there is something else included into that that I did not buy. That's the garage door that he broke.
Well, you didn't have a garage.
Where I was staying the night that he destroyed my
You
furniture.
mean at Schwartz's house?
Correct.
Let Schwartz sue him, unless you paid Schwartz for the garage door.
Well, actually, I'm going to have to pay for it.
No, you won't. You don't have to pay for it because he broke it. Let Schwartz sue him. How much was the garage door?
$620.
Okay, so we're down to $3,200. You just bought this furniture, looks like.
Well, it's on hold.
What do you mean it's on hold?
It's an estimate. They wouldn't...
Miss Tracy.
Yes?
How old was the furniture that was there?
less than 2 years old, and it was brand new. I kept it in perfect condition. That furniture was, I mean, I cherished that, and I took very good care. It was immaculate. It was brand new. There was nothing wrong with anything.
All right, now let me take a look at this furniture, what it looks like. There are 2 sofas. Did you throw both sofas out?
No.
Where's the other one?
There was nothing wrong with the other sofa. She moved it out later on. There's nothing wrong with it.
Your Honor,
Was
he
there anything wrong with
urinated on it. He slashed it up, but he didn't throw it over his balcony because it was too big.
No, that is absolutely not true.
Let's not talk about slashing it. Did you do anything else to it?
No, that is not true. I did not urinate on her couch.
Well, that's
Did you let anybody else do it?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He does not have any ambition in life except to sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the football game.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathy Tracy is in court with her ex-boyfriend, Steve Jackson, because she claims he destroyed her property in a jealous rage.
Mr. Jackson, you slash up her mattress?
No.
No?
I did not.
It's all slashed.
I didn't slash her mattress. What I did was destroyed the dining room table, the chairs, the lamp, and the couch.
That is not true.
Well, who destroyed this?
I don't know. She's had the furniture ever since July, the middle of July.
Well,
and then 1 month later, she comes in and...
Miss Tracy?
Yes.
When did you get the mattress back?
I got the mattress back when I moved all the furniture. The night was July 17th, is when he destroyed all of my furniture at approximately 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right, okay.
I picked up my furniture that day, that afternoon. He let me come and recover the damaged property.
Are you telling me that you took out this damaged mattress?
Yes.
Why did you take out the damaged mattress?
To use it as evidence, because I was obviously going to take him to court over this.
Who helped move out the furniture?
I had 2 movers helping me.
Show this to him, please. Did you? Mr. Jackson, I want you to look at that very carefully, sir.
No, I did not do that. That's not my place. She's had the mattresses ever since the middle of July and not touched that. Now I can turn to the pictures of the couch and the table. Can I look through this?
The couch isn't in there.
I see a picture of a garage door opener.
I'm not interested in the garage door opener. That's
well,
another lawsuit.
I don't see how she can justify $3,200.
Just a second. I asked you about the mattress. Did you do that to the mattress?
No, I didn't. I did not touch her mattress.
This keeps getting better.
Who are you?
I'm Danielle Crockett.
How do you know her?
I've been her best friend for about 4 years.
Best friend, did you see the furniture when it came back to her house after she moved it out? Did you? Who are you?
I'm Nicole Halterman. Not that day. Actually, I had gone to Steve's house that night because I'm friends with his roommate, Vanessa. And I saw the furniture damaged.
Did you see the mattress?
Not the mattress, but everything else.
She'd already taken the mattress out of the house.
She took the mattress and the couches, but she left the table because it was in too many pieces to take. The patio furniture was in too many pieces to take, and the lamps. I saw those in his backyard. Looked like they had been thrown over the balcony.
Okay, but the mattress she had taken, she didn't take any of the property that was destroyed, is that right?
Well, the table was in, like, toothpicks.
Just answer my question.
Okay.
She didn't take any of the property that was destroyed. She left all the badly damaged property there. Is that what you're saying to me?
She took, like, the VCR and the mattresses, all the other stuff that was destroyed.
Just a second. Did you see her take the mattress out?
No, because I was at work when she did that.
So you don't know whether the mattress was destroyed or not?
Well, Steve had admitted to me that he had destroyed it.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
That night when I was at his house, he said that he felt really bad that he did it.
Did what?
Destroyed the couches, the mattresses, the table.
He said the mattresses?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. He mentioned the mattresses, the table. He mentioned everything.
Okay. Good.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Mr. Jackson, when you have a fit of temper, you have to pay. Understand? I assume that that's the comforter. Is that what that's doing here?
Yes. Would you like to see it?
All right. I just assumed that that's what it
Your
was.
Honor.
Not part of the new decor in the courtroom. When you have a fit of temper, you have to pay. And your story is a lot of who shot John with regard to her giving you the furniture that she gave you because she didn't want to look at it anymore because it had an emotional attachment to Mr. Schwartz. So it's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you in this lawsuit the garage door, because I don't want to hear about that. If you damaged Mr. Schwartz's garage door, he'll take that up with you at some other time. Ms. Tracy, I am awarding you $3,000 to replace the furniture. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your
Parties
Honor.
are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your range, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He's an alcoholic. He's mentally and physically abusive. He does not have any ambition in life except to sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the football game. And it wasn't going anywhere. I have ambitions and goals, and we just don't meet. I am glad that I will never have to see him again. Thank you.
Rhonda Davis, and it came back damaged. Rhonda claims in her countersuit she owes her money for a missing gold ring.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 240 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Davis. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
I'm going to try to make this rather complicated case as simple as I can. You are not related to each other, even though you have the same last name.
No.
You are neighbors.
Yes.
She borrowed your car.
Yes, she did.
And it was involved in some sort of a traffic accident, and it was damaged.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And you want her to pay for the damage to the car.
Yes, I do.
She says that while you were babysitting for her, jewelry was stolen from her house. So she's countersuing you for the jewelry. She said, therefore, she doesn't have to pay for the car. Is that this case?
Yes,
it
is.
So at least we have one thing that's a given. You damaged her car.
Yes.
Now, in what month, date and month, did you damage her car? And you don't know this right off the top?
July 12th, Your Honor.
No, I don't. July 12th is when you borrowed the car.
Yes.
How was it damaged? Tell me.
I was damaged on the on the driver's door.
And how did you do that?
I didn't do it. A car hit her car while I was parked.
So she says, Your Honor.
Whatever. You weren't there.
Right.
But it was damaged while it was in your control.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not covered by insurance.
No, it's not.
Why did you let her borrow your car?
Because she asked me if she can borrow my car to go to the grocery store.
That's not true.
And I said, do you have a driver's license? And she said yes. And I let her drive my car. When she left, my car was a brand new car.
I understand that. She's acknowledging that the car was damaged while it was under her control. Did you have a driver's license?
No, I did not.
Why? Why did you use her car without having a driver's license?
She sent her daughter to come get me, to go to Lucky's, to go get some milk and cereal for her daughter because she was sick.
Your Honor.
I did her a favor.
Your Honor. She asked me to use my car. The first question I asked her, before I even answered her, was, do you have a driver's license?
That's not true.
She said yes.
Just a second. Did you have insurance?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Well, I had got the car in May, and I moved in June. I guess my insurance papers, from what the car dealership told me, went to my old address. Being that I didn't get them in time, they pinned it because I only had it a month after I got my car.
Well, so far you both sound very responsible. No insurance, no driver's license. It's a perfect match.
Okay.
All right. Now, when allegedly was this jewelry stolen and how? What month?
It was stolen August 23rd.
All right. 8/23. Now, between July 12th, when the car was damaged, and August 23rd, why didn't you pay her for the damage?
Because for one thing, when after the accident had happened, okay, I came straight to Rolanda and I said, Rolanda, someone had hit your car. We came out, we looked at the car. She said, Rhonda, don't worry about it. It's not that much damage. It could have happened to me if I'd have had your car. She said, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Come on now.
Shh.
All right.
And so that was it, okay? August 23rd was my birthday. We needed a babysitter.
Just a minute. So are you telling me that between July 12th, when our car was damaged, and August 23rd, there was no other discussion about paying for the car?
None. None.
Okay. You say there was?
Yes, there was.
When was there?
When she came back, when she pulled back into the parking lot, and I came outside and seen my car, and I'm just shaking my head, and she was like, Rolanda, I'm going to help you fix your car. She said she's been knowing people who can fix my car, Your Honor. She said she's been knowing people, and I'll come to her door, I'll ask for some time. I'll be like, have you talked to someone?
No,
and she'll be like, yeah, I know somebody who will fix the car.
Okay.
You know, and then she got mad one night and was like, I'm not going to fix your car.
Who are you?
I'm her witness and roommate. We live together. When she was at the store, I was at Rolanda's house sitting, waiting for her because the store is not very far from where we stay at. Okay, when she came back, all three of us walked out where the car is parked at in front of our apartment building, and we looked at the car. You know, I was looking like, where's the dent, you know? And it was very small, like maybe if someone opened their door and maybe hit the car or something like that, that's what it looked like. To me, it wasn't major at all.
I'm going to see pictures of it. I assume the pictures are here.
It wasn't
Yes,
major
I do
at all.
have my pictures to prove that they're not little itty bitty dents.
I have pictures
I have
too.
some I have some damages that.
Just a shut.
Okay.
That's certainly not an itty bitty dent.
No, and that wasn't the dent that was in that car. Neither. Her car had been hit 3 times since that accident.
Well, when did you take pictures of it?
Maybe about 2 weeks ago when I knew that she was following this.
Just a second. 2 weeks ago this happened? 3
July
months
the
ago?
12th, Your
Yes,
Honor.
but
My
I didn't know she was going to file no suit against me or anything like this.
When were these pictures taken?
Those pictures were taken 3 days ago.
3 days ago?
3 days ago.
Not interested in these pictures?
Well,
I
have
want to
an
see the
estimate.
estimate.
Okay. I have
right
an estimate,
after
Your
July
Honor.
12th.
I have an estimate, Your Honor, proving how much my driver's door does not open. My window is broken.
That window was in that car.
It has been rain, and my car, the door, it's rain, it's mildew stains inside of my car.
Your husband
Just a
broke
minute.
the window.
Hey! This damage report is 2.5 months after this incident.
Yes. Okay. Your Honor, I'm telling the guys all the truth. She damaged my car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You copped an attitude, which I have a feeling you can do very easily, and you said, I'm not doing that.
And later today,
Whoever made the decision that this was not going to be a long-term relationship, whether it was you or whether it was him, whoever it was, you're very lucky.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rolanda Davis says after she loaned her car to her neighbor, 36-year-old Rhonda Davis, she returned it with extensive damage. Rhonda admits the car was wrecked, but says Rolanda stole a gold ring from her home, making them even.
She acknowledges she damaged your car. Mm-hmm. You do not have an estimate within a day, or two, a week after the accident.
Right.
$1,500 is practically what they charge just to look at a car. Mm-hmm. One of these car doctors, they come out in a white coat and they look at it. The looking costs $1,500. So we're not talking about a lot of money. The damage that you caused to the car was at least probably $1,500.
Yes.
If they have to pull it out, they have to repaint it, they have to buff it out. You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So $1,500 she's entitled to for the car. Now, you have to prove to me that she took your jewelry. Prove it.
Only way that I can prove it is that when we got ready to leave, when I got to the club, Jocelyn noticed that my jewelry was gone. What I did, I immediately got on the phone. I called Rolanda. I dialed my number. Rolanda answered my phone. She said, hello. I said, Rolanda, this is Rhonda. First thing I said, how's the kids? She said, everything okay. I said, Rolanda, I left my rings on top of the TV. Can you please go get them for the kids won't mess with them? She said, okay. I said, I'm going to hold on until you do this, I was holding on the phone. Whether Rolanda went in my room to check to see was the rings there or not, I was holding on. She came back to the phone. She said, okay, I got him. I said, okay, everything's okay? She said, yes. I hung up the phone. When I returned home, I say approximately maybe about 2:30, close to 2:45. Immediately as I walked in my door, I seen my table, the glass was broke, okay? Then Rolanda said, the window in the room is broke. I said, the room window. So I goes in the room and I pulls the curtain back. The whole window is busted out, okay? A family heirloom that I had from my grandmother that's passed, that was broke, okay? My rings was missing, all in one night.
Okay, what happened?
She called. And she did tell me that her ring was somewhere in her room. She did say that she would hold while I go in the room. I did not go in that room because I didn't want to be responsible for nothing coming up
Just
missing.
a second.
Okay.
Stop you right there.
All right.
She called. She said, I'll hold on.
Mm-hmm. I sat the phone down.
Just a second.
Okay.
She said, I'll hold on while you go inside and get my rings because I don't want the kids. That's what she said to you.
Right.
And you did what?
And I sat the phone down and sat there. I did not come back and reply to her, I got them.
Yes, you did.
Oh, sure you did.
Yes, you did. That's what the reason
sure you
I was
did.
holding on.
Okay.
No, that's why I was, oh, excuse me.
No.
Excuse
Hey,
me.
oh, sure you did.
She is lying. No, I did not. My mother is right here.
Let me tell you why you did. Let me tell you why you did. Because it doesn't make sense. It's not logical for you to have then walked back and said, I don't have the rings. I'm sorry. You put the phone down. You said, gonna wait a couple of minutes. You picked the phone up. You said, got him.
I didn't say got him.
What did you say?
I told her I was not going in her room because I wasn't going to be responsible.
No, you didn't.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't. Please,
I didn't
give me a
leave out
break.
that living room.
Your
Honor,
You got
that
my
is
rings.
the truth. I didn't leave out the living room.
Oh, I believe it.
I stayed
How you
right
know the
next door
bedroom
to her.
window was
Listen to
broke?
me. Listen to me.
Okay.
Either way,
Okay.
you're responsible. She's absolutely right. Either way, you're responsible. She called you.
That's what
You
I
were
did.
babysitting for her children. She said, I left my rings. Please go inside and secure them. Instead of doing that, you copped an attitude, which I have a feeling you can do very easily, and you said, I'm not doing that. You took the phone, put it down, waited a minute, picked it up and said, I got him.
That's what she did.
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Sure you did. Tell me what rings were missing.
This is the rings right here. I have the things from the rings and everything. They're not even finished paying for. Here's everything for the rings. It's the
never
ones that's
entered a room at all.
That's your problem.
Circled.
Then you lied.
Here's
No,
my
I didn't.
stuff.
Oh,
for
sure you
my-
did.
For my table.
Oh, sure
I
you
didn't-
did.
I got
How?
the window fixed, but not the table.
How,
but
Your
this
Honor?
is
How did you lie?
Yeah.
You lied because you told her I got the rings.
No,
Here
I
we go,
didn't.
right
Oh, I
never
believe you
told her
did.
that.
Listen, I may be wrong. I was wrong once in 1950. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure I was wrong
And
once
this
in
day,
1950.
too, Your Honor, because I didn't
Be
say that to her.
quiet.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. And later today,
You are so full of baloney.
Am I?
You are so full of baloney. But you're a very quick thinker.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
This case is going to turn out to be a wash, you know. Because I believe that you should have paid for the car, for the damage to the car. I believe that's true. And I believe Miss Attitude over here decided that she was tired of asking you to pay for the car and made things sort of even. Your lawsuit is dismissed. Your countersuit is dismissed because they're just for about the same amount of money. The loss of the rings, the damage to her car, it's a wash.
with me.
That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
and now the next case.
Parties on Penda versus Crane. Step forward, please.
55-year-old engineering assistant Dee Pender says she bought a computer for 43-year-old Robert Crane while the two were dating. Robert claims he knows nothing about it.
While you and the defendant were dating, you claimed that you bought a computer for him, he agreed to pay you for the computer, stopped dating, and he hasn't paid you for the computer.
Right.
That's simple?
Right.
He says he doesn't know what you're talking about. You never bought him a computer. He doesn't know about a computer. Is that right?
Correct.
Interesting. So, how long were you dating before you bought him this computer, and tell me why you did in the first place?
Probably about 4 months I was dating him, and he was over that night, and we had talked about that I might get a computer. And I was on the phone, and he came in, and he says, "Oh, you're ordering a computer?" And I said, "Yeah." He says,
that's not right.
"Could, do you think I could get one too?" And I said, "Well, I'll ask." So I asked, and she said, "You can buy as many as you want."
Well, where were you ordering these from?
Through my company that I work for.
Were you getting a good deal on them?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yes, uh-huh.
Go ahead.
They offered them to the employees only. And she said, yes, I could get as many as I wanted. I said, okay. He says, well, put it on your charge for me, and I'll pay you back next month. Fact is, he says, I'll pay the whole bill off. And I went, shh, wait till I'm done. So I finished ordering 2 computers and got off the phone. He says, yeah, he says, I'll pay the whole bill off. Everything on your bill I'll pay off. Yours and mine and anything else that's on there. He said, I make plenty of money. He said, no problem. And I said, no, you pay what you owe me. I pay my own bills.
How much was the computer that you bought for him?
In the end, by the time we got everything on there was $1,943.55. That's what it finally came to.
Okay.
So he comes over and he says, I make $15,000 a month. Here's my check stub. I'll show you. And I looked and I went, whoa. And he says, yeah, I make plenty of money. Don't worry, I'll pay the whole thing. I said, no, just pay your bill. That's all I want. And so the bill came in, and he says, well, the next month, he says, I'm a little short of cash. Can I just make the payment this time? He said, actually, I'll pay it when my tax check comes in. He said, that'll be in the next week. And I said, okay. I said, you know, pay $100 on this. Okay. So
did he give you $100?
Yes. Yes, he paid me $100.
Well, let me ask you this question. Have the computers been delivered?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They were delivered the next month.
Did you talk to him about his computer?
Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, he liked it. He thought it was great.
What kind was it?
A Micron? Micron, I believe. Here it is right here.
Okay. And which credit card did you put it on?
My Citibank Visa.
Okay.
There's a little note here that he left tagged on my car after he moved out in the middle of the night in his handwriting saying, I will pay you. He put this on my car. I put the date up there of the day he left it on my car.
Let me have it, please. Yes. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. As far as this computer, she'd called me and said she'd purchased a computer. And as far as another computer, I know nothing about it. I was very shocked on this lawsuit that she served me. I was very shocked. I was very shocked. And the thing I did, I finally had to move because all she did was call me every night. She wanted to pursue this relationship. Hey, I didn't want to hear anything else about it. So I finally had to move because we lived in the same complex. I did not need to hear any more of this
if you
from her.
can't be quiet, you have to leave. Do you understand?
So the only thing I can see is she's very distressed that she couldn't pursue this relationship.
So you think she bought these 2 computers that are clearly on her bill for somebody else, or maybe she just wanted 2 computers for herself?
Possibly. As far as that, the only thing I knew, she called me up, she said, oh, I bought a computer. Oh, you did? Okay, fine.
If there would be a copy of a check that you gave her for $100, what would that be for?
It would be for some stamps that I purchased from her for a mail order business that she was going into, that I paid her for.
You are so full of baloney.
Am I?
You are so full of baloney. But you're a very quick thinker.
I'm not full of
You're a very quick thinker. I don't have a check for $100, a copy of a check.
But still,
I just wanted to figure out, to see what your answer would be if you thought I had a copy of a check.
That's what it would have been for.
Oh, God. Must be smoking something real good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. $1,943.55 is what your Visa bill shows.
does very fancy footwork. Miss Pender, you're very lucky that whoever made the decision that this was not going to be a long-term relationship, whether it was you or whether it was him, whoever it was, you're very lucky.
Yes.
Earth to Mr. Crane. You can't pull the wool over everybody's eyes all the time, sir.
I'm sorry.
What were the interest charges since this purchase was made? His interest charges, we're going to give him credit for the $100, even though he now says it's for stamps.
And also lost wages because same time he moved, his company moved, and it took me 2 days to find out where they were.
You're going to listen. You're going to chalk that up to experience.
Okay.
All I want to know is the interest. It's $320.
She had a business card all along.
2163, right?
Got there.
That's what I got there. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,163.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm the daughter, and I know the whole story. And I'll tell you, when you're born to lie and you do it well, you can get through life, and he is proof of that.
No. Yeah, they're just ganging up on me. That's why I'm by myself. So, hey.
হ্যালো গাইস, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ কি অবস্থা সবার? সবাই কেমন আছো গাইস? আশা করি সবাই ভালো আছো। সবাইকে আবারও স্বাগতম জানাচ্ছি নতুন একটা ভিডিওতে। চলো আমরা আমাদের বারমুডা র্যাঙ্ক, হ্যাঁ কি অবস্থা?
ভাই কি অবস্থা?
এই তো ভালো, কি খবর? খেলবা নাকি? খেললে গেমে আসো।
খেলবো।
ও, আমি বিয়ার খেলতে যাচ্ছি, বিয়ার খেলবো।
মুকুল ভাই কি অবস্থা?
এই তো খেলবা নাকি? বিয়ার খেলবো।
চলেন খেলি আসি, দেখি কে কত পারে।
আপনি খেলেন পরে কি মানে?
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, একটা প্লেয়ার অ্যাড দাও। হ্যাঁ
কে?
তালহা, এটা তালহা দাও, স্টার্ট দাও। তালহা দা বট গেমার সেকেন্ড আইডি দাও, স্টার্ট দাও, স্টার্ট দাও। কি তালহা বট, কেমন আছো? এই তো ভালো।
এটা তো রিয়েল তালহা লাগতেছে না।
রিয়েল তালহাই, তালহার ছোট ভাই।
ভাই প্লিজ ভাই তালহা ভাইকে ডাকেন ভাই, আমি অনেক দূর ভাই
যখন তখন কি আর ডাকলে আসবে? ইনভাইট করতে হবে, দাওয়াত দিতে হবে পোলা মাংস করে। বুঝতে হবে বিষয়টা কি, কথা ঠিক না বে ঠিক?
যা কইবেন তাই করে আনা লাগে ভাই। মানে মুকুল ভাই হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ
এই আপনার মাইকের আওয়াজ কম আইতেছে, ডিসকর্ড আছে নাকি?
হ্যাঁ ডিসকর্ডে আছে, রেকর্ডও চলতেছে।
লিংকটা দেন তো আমার ইয়ার ডিসকর্ড সার্ভারের, আপনার সার্ভারে ভাই।
আর ট্রিপলারের ভিডিওতে গেলেই তো তুমি লিংক পেয়ে যাবা, ওর সব ভিডিওতে লিংক দেওয়া আছে মনে হয়। ট্রিপলারের চ্যানেলে ঢুকলেই লিংক পেয়ে যাবা তো।
আরে আমি চ্যানেলে আপনার লোক অ্যাড আমার আইডি তো কি আগে আইডি না বিয়ে হয়ে গেল, আইতে পারতেছ না আগের আইডি।
ও আমি যে তোমার ম্যাচটা শেষ করি তাহলে, থামো। তো কি খবর তোমাদের, কেমন আছো তোমরা? আশা করি সবাই ভালো আছো। আবারও নতুন করে একটা ম্যাচ খেলতে চলে আসলাম তোমাদের সাথে। কামিয়ার শিপইয়ার্ডে চলে যাবো আমরা। শিপইয়ার্ড दरकार नहीं है, उधर भी जाना दरकार नहीं है, इधर भी जाना दरकार नहीं है। इधर एनिमी हुआ करता है। गाड़ी लेके चला जाओ इधर से, गाड़ी लेके चला जाओ।
आप चला जाओ, अभी अभी मैं
ভাই আমার সামনে ফেক মুকুল ভাই বলছে ফেক মুকুল নক হয়ে গেছি।
ও তাই?
আমার সামনে কেবলমাত্র হিপ হপ করে আসছে।
কাম সারা তাইলে। ওরে ভাই সামনে এনিমি এনিমি এনিমি। আমি গেছি গেছি গেছি।
আরে ভাই এখন ম্যাচ খেললে এত হ্যাকার পরে ভাই রাগ উঠে যায়।
মুকুল ভাইকে ভোট দেওয়া হয়েছে ভাই।